It's the final home game of the regular season for the Bourne Braves, and it brings in the Cotuit Cavaliers. Welcome into Before the Bravos, our Braves pregame show.
Oh, it's time, baby.
Calvin
there we go.
Cristoforo, Nick Daly, high above Doran Park, as always. And Nick, we got a good one tonight. The Braves against probably the hottest team in the league, Cotuit, who is trying to get in to the postseason, and a first-round matchup preview might be happening on this field tonight.
This is going to be a great game. It's a big one. It's a really, really big one. Our last regular season game at home, me and you, I mean, what a journey it's been, huh? Can you believe it?
I know.
We've already reached it.
The next time we'll be on this camera, we will have postseason baseball on this
weird.
field.
I can't believe it. It feels like just yesterday I met your goony little face here. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's been a great year. It's been a pleasure.
It has been.
Before the Bravos, it's been fun. It's been great to work with the two knuckleheads, Reeves and Daniel.
Oh, great to lose.
Joe and Ellie, our great social media people.
Absolutely.
And, of course, all the game day offs people as well.
Well, don't get too emotional because
I'll save it.
There's still a long way to go in the Braves
I'll save
season.
my speech, yeah.
But the Bravos looking to, play a team again in Cotuit and try to keep them out of the playoff. They're trying to deny the Cavaliers a playoff spot, who really only need one game to get in. Technically, they need a win and a Falmouth loss, or 2 wins or 2 Falmouth losses, but they own the tiebreaker, so if they want to win it outright, they need to win a Falmouth loss. If they can get in with a win tonight, but they would need a tiebreaker to do so. So they would like a win and a Falmouth loss to kind of put that exclamation point on them getting a playoff spot. And this is a Cavaliers team that is red hot. Winners of 5 in a row, 55 runs scored in that 5-game stretch. The past 2 nights, 28 runs in 2 wins against third-place Falmouth. So they are feeling really, really good tonight as they stroll into Doran Park.
Yeah, the offense is going insane, and this is a team that's kind of peaking at the right time. If anything, we saw that in the Bourne game earlier last week now, where they, just kind of massacred the Braves. 13-2 ball game. It was really never close. Kind of close to the first, couple innings.
Well, the Braves had the lead.
They had the lead, and then as soon as Cotuit started scoring, it just was never close. So, we saw this offense on full display not too long ago, and they've just kept it up ever since. And now they're peaking as they are starting to make a playoff push. It's looking like they will be the team that Bourne faces in the first round.
And what a series that would be.
I mean, that is going to be a dogfight.
Absolutely.
That is going to be a dogfight. I mean, these are 2 teams that don't really like each other.
Yep.
And it's Red Sox-Yankees. It really is. Who are the Red Sox? Who are the Yankees? That depends what team you support. But it's Red Sox-Yankees. So it's going to be a dogfight. Today is going to be a dogfight. And if we do see these 2 teams in a playoff series, a first-round playoff series, you can bet that's even going to be more of a dogfight. So definitely interesting to watch here.
Well, there is some stuff on the line tonight. We mentioned Cotuit trying to get that last playoff spot, secure their berth in the postseason. But also the regular season series is on the line tonight. The Braves have won 2. Cotuit has won 2. So Game 5 here at Doran Park decides the regular season winner of the series. And the Braves are giving the trust to the new guy. Jacek, the pitcher, comes in. An Indiana State pitcher, Matt Jacek, a guy whose numbers in Indiana State, just over 17 innings pitched, ERA over 4.5. But this summer, he has really popped in the Hamptons League.
Yeah, I mean, a guy who just kind of peaking at the right time, it seems like. Comes out here summer ball on a nice stretch. He has summer ball experience this year, and he's looked good this summer. So that's an addition as a Bourne team that you like to see, a guy who's proven himself as a guy who can pitch in the summer. Because, college, summer ball, 2 very different things. Yeah, there's some similarities, no doubt about it. But still, it's a little bit of a different pace. You got to get used to just kind of the schedule and how it is being away from home if you're playing in a program that's far from your home. So, it's going to be interesting to see how he does. He's going against pretty much
the hottest lineup right now.
Yeah, the hottest lineup undoubtedly. And you can even argue one of the best teams in the league at this point. So it's going to, that's definitely a tough debut in Bourne. And I'm looking forward to see how he handles it. Say he does have a great start right here. I mean, that's huge for Bourne going down the stretch.
No, it's something where he has a bad start. You can look at all the factors, right?
Yeah.
Your first start, you're playing a Cotuit team that's red hot. You were just activated 3 days ago. But if he has a good start against a Cotuit team, it's great for the Braves team, but it gives him so much confidence going
Yes.
forward into the postseason that he can beat top teams in a league like this, his confidence goes through the roof. So it's a good test for him. The Braves already have a playoff spot secured. It's a game they'd love to get, absolutely. But if you can get J-Check some confidence going into the postseason, that could be even more important in the long run.
Yeah, I think this is the biggest game of the year.
Really?
I do.
Really?
Up to this point, I really do.
Okay.
I really do, because I think...
I disagree, but go ahead.
Okay, I think this. Standings-wise for Bourne, it really means nothing.
Exactly.
But if Cotuit steamrolled Bourne 13-2 earlier, like last week, they come out, they win this game at home, then they end up being the playoff team that Bourne has to face. I don't know how Bourne could obviously bounce back, but it's going to be very, very tough.
Yeah.
I think psychologically,
Okay.
it's unbelievable how big this game is. If Cotuit just keeps his hot streak, rides it right into the playoffs, they're going to be nearly impossible to beat. I'm not saying the Braves are going to lose a playoff series to Cotuit, because it's Cape Cod League baseball. Anything can happen. But the momentum that they will have, especially if you steamroll Bourne 13-2 and then come to Dorn Park and you beat them again, that is a huge psychological edge. Massive, especially with the way that Bourne's been losing a lot of guys, a lot of new guys coming in. Right now, mentally, most of these guys seem good, but you never know what's going on behind closed doors, how these guys are really feeling. This is a huge, huge psychological game right now.
I agree with you. It's mentally, psychologically it is, but the Braves have already clinched.
They have,
right, and you can look at it and say, you can look at it two things, right? Number one, the Braves, we don't know what J-Check has. Right, we don't. So they're giving him out there, throwing him. We don't know if they're playing, 100% to win. Obviously, they want to win the game, but they're playing to see what guys have. You look at the lineup tonight. Hunter Jump gets an opportunity in the lineup. Ben Huber gets another opportunity in the lineup. They want to see what they got so their lineup is ready.
I will say this, though. You look at the lineup tonight. I know we're about to go through it. I would say that lineup you have in your hand right now
is a playoff lineup?
That is a playoff lineup right there. That is a lineup built to basically make a statement to the Cavaliers saying, we're trying to win this game. I think if you look at that, that is the best possible lineup you could put out, I think, personally. I think that's one.
You've seen enough from Hunter Jump and Ben Huber to think that they are in your playoff lineup.
I think that Harvey Shapiro plans to have Hunter Jump and Ben Huber in that lineup come playoff time. I think he's trying to get them more reps right now, so come playoff time, they're in their groove and they're ready to go. I think the expectations for Jump and Huber are pretty high. I really do.
I agree with you. I mean, I'm not discounting that this is a big game, but I just don't know. You've clinched right.
Biggest game. I mean, throw the clinching thing out the window. Really, that doesn't matter right now. It matters who's hot. I mean, yeah, you can clinch. You can be clinched for a week, like Bourne has, going into the playoffs, a week and a half or whatever. Doesn't matter if you get swept 2-0.
I mean, it
really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but I think, I know. I go back to what you're saying psychologically. I think it means something. It means a lot. But I just don't.
I think it's the biggest game.
I just don't know when there's 3 games left in the regular season. You've already clinched for about a week. You're trying to feel out how your new guys are playing. You're throwing out a guy who just arrived 3 days ago. You're not pitching Austin Parsley. You're not throwing out Michael Sandstone.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think whoever wins this game wins the series if these two teams square off.
Wow.
I really do. I really do.
That's a take. I think it's a much bigger game for Cotuit. No doubt about that.
Without a doubt, it is, and that's why if they win this game, the momentum it gives them is insane. That's why Bourne cannot let them win this game. If you want to win the playoff series and you're against the Cavaliers, you better not let them win tonight.
Okay, well, I like what
This is the most passion I've ever had on this.
I 100% bring it. I love it. I love that you have it.
I mean, this is huge.
I think it's a big game too, but I just go back to the point where you're still trying to see new guys in the lineup, how they play. Right? You're already in the playoffs. You're not throwing out, your ace. Your number one's not going. You're throwing a guy who just came 3 days ago. You want to see what he's got. I think it's more important to see what J-Check has than to win this game. We'll continue our conversation on the other side. We're going to stand and take a quick break for the national anthem. We'll be right back on Before the Bravos.
So proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars
All right, well, the national anthem cooled us down for a heating debate we were having. Let's go through the Braves lineup. I'll run through it real quickly as we're running out of time here on Before the Bravos Are Braves pregame show. Joe Lampe leading off, playing center field. Max Anderson, the third baseman, hits second. Dalton rushing at first base, hits third. Tanner Schobel cleans things off, hitting fourth at second base. Hunter Jump, the left fielder, hits fifth. Christian Knapczyk, the shortstop, hits sixth. Ben Huber over at the designated hitter position tonight hits seventh. Colby Thomas in right field hits eighth. And Peter Burns doing the catching hits ninth.
One guy I'm going to point out tonight is Hunter Jump.
Absolutely.
I want to see more production from him.
You got to. If this is your playoff lineup, you have to.
You need it.
Yes.
And going back to your point about testing guys out and stuff, Harvey Shapiro kind of has to. I mean, Reggie Crawford's not going to walk through that door. Braylon Wimmer's not going to walk through that door.
I agree with you.
You know, so I think he kind of has to. He's forced to, and that's why we're seeing this lineup out here tonight. And I mean, massive game. Massive game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just don't know if it is the biggest so far in the season.
I think it is.
We'll agree to disagree on that.
We will agree to disagree.
So give me your pick to pop tonight. Hunter Jump hit a ball hard at one at-bat last night. Do you like him going forward? You still need to see more from him? Who's your pick to pop for tonight?
I'm going to go with Max Anderson.
Home run last night?
Home run last night. I like
that I called, by the way.
You did?
I did.
You did.
I got
kudos to you.
I called that home run.
Kudos to you there.
And there's proof. There's proof about that if you need it.
There's video proof
yes,
of it. So, but yeah, I'm going Anderson.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to go with Dalton rushing. I think he gets one up. I think he gets one out. Had a home run the last time we played the Cavaliers. I think he gets another one here tonight, but it's going to be a great one. A big game, according to Nick Galley, the biggest game of the season.
The biggest.
The Braves and the Cotuit Cavaliers here from Doran Park. First pitch is just around the corner. Reeves and Daniel have the call. Enjoy the game, everybody.
It is the home finale here at Doran Park as the Braves play their final regular season home game against their rival, the Cotuit Cavaliers. And what could be a playoff preview? Welcome into the broadcast booth. Reeves Jackson here with Daniel Coates as we get set for first pitch tonight here at Doran Park. It is a new pitcher from Indiana State on the mound tonight, Daniel. It is Matt Jacek, who's looking to make a very big arrival into the Braves rotation.
Yeah, his first appearance is going to be a start against the red-hot Cotuit Cavaliers. They've scored 55 runs in the last 5 games. They are as hot as any team down here on the Cape this season. He's going to have his hands full tonight.
Chopper over the middle on the first pitch of the night. That is to Jace Grady, the center fielder. Over the middle goes Christian Knapczyk. Can't field it. It's going to be a leadoff infield single, I would have to guess, for Jace Grady. We'll see how it's scored. It is a base hit. And the Cavaliers offense, Daniel, that has scored 55 runs over the last 5 games. And if you remember, it started against these Bourne Braves when they scored 13 in an 11-run win at Lowell Park. That was on Tuesday.
Yeah, the Braves have been vulnerable to the half-inning rally, giving up 9 last night to the Wareham Gatemen, and I believe giving up 7 at Lowell Park in 1 half-inning against Cotuit Cavaliers in our last meeting. But again, these little infield singles are proving really costly for this team.
1-0 the count. Jacek at Indiana State, a 4.58 ERA and 17 2/3 innings. This one ripped to third. Anderson gloves it. Over to Schobel for one. On to rushing, a 5-4-3 double play. Well, Cotuit knows that pretty well. The Braves turned 3 double plays at Lowell Park in the loss, and they turned one in the first inning on the second batter, 5-4-3.
And I'll tell you what, it's good to see Max Anderson field that cleanly and get a big impact play early on. The last time he faced Cotuit, he had 2 errors at that third base spot. He looks clean and crisp today.
Here is Ryan Ritter. Ritter, the shortstop, and he might be one of the hottest hitters in the CCBL at the current moment. He raised his batting average almost 110 percentage points in the last 30 days. 216 to 325, 109 percentage points. Ritter, who really jumped from the 8th spot of this lineup all the way up to number 3 due to his hot hitting, has anchored the Cotuit lineup, along with Eric Brown, who hits cleanup, and along with Noah Bridges, the 3, 4, and 5 guys, along with Jace Grady, who had that leadoff infield single. There's not a guy you can go to in the Cotuit lineup right now that you can really say, I'm going to try to get you out because you're not hitting. And that's what makes them so dangerous, as Cotuit looks to seal a playoff berth with a win or a Falmouth loss today. 1-1. This one chopped foul. And that hits the clipboard of KG Kevin Graber. Papers go flying.
Protector over there.
But the dugout, yeah, the players are okay. I guess that is all that matters, obviously.
But, of course, the story coming into this game is the resurgence of the Cotuit Kettleers offense. Ryan Ritter really is where you start off with that 27 for 83, 325 average. And as you said, Reeves, really improved in the last 2 weeks.
2-2 the count as that breaking ball misses in the dirt. It's been a small sample size from Jacek. But, Daniel, you got to have liked what you've seen here early on.
Yeah, you have to. And that 5-4-3 double play is really what got things going. And Jacek looking comfortable at Bourne Park.
Jacek with a strikeout of Ryan Ritter. Got him looking with a fastball and takes care of the Kettleers in the top of the first. It's the Kets 0 and the Braves. They're coming up. Back with you here at Bourne Park. Reeves Jackson and Daniel Coates here in the regular season home finale. Great to be back with you here at Bourne, where the Braves face a Boston College foe here tonight, Daniel. It is the right-hander Joe Mancini making his first appearance here in the Cape. The right-handed pitcher has to deal with the Braves lineup that we talked about pregame and talked about off the air, that one of the best lineups we have seen over the course of the season for the lineup that we now have. We'll run through it right now. Leading off playing center field is Joe Lampe. Batting second at third base, Max Anderson. Batting third over at first base, Dalton Rushing. Fourth, and hitting cleanup again at second base is Tanner Schobel. Batting fifth in left field, Hunter Jump. Batting sixth, the shortstop is Christian Knapczyk. Batting seventh, the designated hitter, Ben Huber. Batting eighth in right field is Colby Thomas. And rounding out the lineup and hitting ninth, the catcher, Peter Burns. Mancini at 6'2", 195 pounds from Fairfield, Connecticut. And deals with the Braves leadoff man, Joe Lampe. A first pitch fastball misses high, and that's how tonight's game gets underway. So I know, Daniel, obviously you had time calling for Boston College baseball. Did you get to call any of Joe Mancini's action?
I did, and I've never seen him at the starting position, so this is a first for me. He's going to be facing Joe Lampe, who, again, Harvey Shapiro has opted to put at the one spot. At this point, it's really a toss-up between him and Christian Knapczyk, but Mancini not necessarily experienced as far as the starting role for this Cotuit Kettleers team and for Boston College, so it will be interesting to see what he can produce here. However, I will say at Boston College he was hit up a bit, touched up a bit, especially after not being in that rotation of the weekend series.
Well, he got a swing and a miss on a nice changeup to Lampe, so we know a changeup is a predominant second pitch for Mancini. The fastball there missed way inside, so 2-2 the count here for Mancini. A late addition here to the Kettleers as Lampy chops this one foul. Actually was at Chick-fil-A the other day, Daniel. Saw Joe Mancini in there, had his Kettleers jersey on. They were not playing the Bourne Braves that day. I just saw him, obviously right near the Cotuit area in Hyannis. And I was like, well, only Mancini I know is Trey Mancini with the Baltimore Orioles, but Joe Mancini actually has a relative that played Major League Baseball for the Baltimore Orioles. So I guess Mancini runs strong in the Baltimore organization. Full count here to Joe Lampy.
Yeah, he most certainly does. And for both of these teams tonight, two starting pitchers who have not had experience on either side. It's their first start. This is the first appearance for Mancini for the Kettleers.
3-2, and Lampy rips this one to right field. It was heading towards the pole for a minute, but Joe got a little too pole happy. And listening to the dugout, it's funny, we were with the team in batting practice yesterday. Joe Lampy, who had the off day, he came into BP, and when you have the off day, you can be a little more carefree in your batting practice, which is fun to do sometimes, and Joe was trying to hit as many homers as he could to right field, and he did get one out. And Joe Lampy, a breaking ball, takes the walk, and the Braves have a leadoff base runner in the form of the speedy Lampy.
Joe Lampy, as good as he is hitting, and with you saw with that foul ball, he is also as good as working the count, especially with Max Anderson on. That's exactly what you want from your one spot. Work the count, get ahead, and when you have a payoff pitch coming your way, be cautious about what you go after. Joe Lampy now on first with the dangerous Max Anderson, who homered last night at the plate.
Anderson back in the 2 spot here tonight, and he watches that one miss outside for ball 1.
Of course, that 3-run shot from Max Anderson came at a time when it might have been a bit too late against the Wareham Gatemen in our 10-3 loss.
Anderson fouls this one over the screen, 1-1 the count. Although it came at a, you could call meaningless time, Daniel, it was great to see the Braves have some rhythm offensively that we hope carries into today, obviously. 1-1 the count. As Mancini looking to deal with Lampy aboard and a check first. As we'll take you through Cotuit defensively. Left to right is Gale, Grady, and Noah Bridges in right field, who has been excellent from UNC Wilmington. Third to first, Brett Roberts, Ryan Ritter, and Eric Brown at second. That is the middle infield combination that is one of the best in the league, if not the best. Nathan Martorell is at first, and Suggs behind the plate catching as Anderson lines this one to left field, fairly deep, but also foul. Well, good sign from the Braves early. They are hitting some deep foul balls off of Mancini. If they can just get those straightened out, the Braves could be looking at a nice day offensively.
Yeah, they definitely could. You know, that's what the first part of the lineup is for, and that's what you go through for the first time for. A lot of what these Braves have been producing with has been the second time through the lineup. Trying to figure out a pitcher, especially Mancini, who we don't have any idea how he's going to look in the Cape League. And if Joe Lampy's first impression was any indication, we could be in for an offensive explosion here tonight, which is something we desperately need as far as momentum and confidence going into the playoff push.
Lampy looking like he wants to move over there at first, decides to stay put as Anderson fouls off the breaking ball and stays alive. Well, we obviously talked about Cotuit in there. 55. That is not a misprint. That is not a misread. 55 runs over the course of their last 5 games. A 13-2 win over the Braves, a 2-1 win, a 1-run win over the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, a 12-5 win over Wareham, a 16-6 win over Falmouth, and then a 12-9 win over Falmouth. So they have scored double digits in every game except for one in the past 5, and that was a 1-run win over the Harbor Hawks. So a Cotuit team that is red hot offensively and at the right time. As Anderson cuts and misses on a fastball upstairs, and Mancini records the first out of his night, a strikeout.
Tough go there for Anderson, who's been vulnerable with the strikeout as of late. Goes down again. Here's a guy in Dalton Rushing who, as we move closer to the postseason, needs to start producing. He's batting .297, dropping under that .300 average mark. The deep ball is something we've been missing from him for a little bit of time. 6 home runs, 22 RBIs, but with 1 out in the top of the first, or the bottom of the first, I should say, this is an opportunity to set the tone.
Rushing has been hitting the ball hard of late, grounds this one to first. Martorella scoops and fields, throws to Ritter for 1, and on to first. Rushing beats the wrap. So a fielder's choice for Dalton Rushing. Taking care of it second is Joe Lampy, and the Braves inning stays alive here for Tanner Schobel.
Well, there's that speedy right fielder going down the first base line. We saw him last night in right field. We've seen him at first. We've seen him behind the plate. Joe Lampe goes down, but a good job of beating that out and giving Tanner Schobel an opportunity here in the bottom of the first.
Tanner Schobel, who we talked about last night, has been all around this Braves lineup. He's sitting cleanup again tonight, but quite arguably the hottest hitter for the Braves in the past week plus. Watches a breaking ball that spins too far inside. 1-0 the count. Beautiful night here from Dorn Park. Another big crowd, but this is just a small sample of what we hope to expect and should expect on Friday's first round playoff game. As Schobel watches it upstairs, something I guess you could call the Western Championship Series. The WCS, with the winner going to the Cape Cod Championship against the winner of Brewster and Harwich. That matchup already finalized, with Brewster likely going to be the home team in the 1 seed. Over there as Schobel rips this one. That's fair inside the line and left. Here comes rushing to third. That ball gets past the left fielder, Gale, rushing on his way to the plate as Tanner Schobel drives in the game's first run with an RBI double to left.
Really costly bobble in left field by Gale, and Dalton Rushing showing off his speed again. The Braves strike first 1-0. Tanner Schobel, as you said, arguably the best and the hottest hitter on this team in the last week, proves that once again and adds to his resume here in Bourne.
Well, this game is going to be the description of momentum and the definition of it all night long, as we look to see who takes advantage of a very, very potential first-round playoff matchup here from Dorn Park on Friday night. In steps Hunter Jump, and he takes a changeup, outer half, strike one. Jump batting fifth in left field tonight. Got his first single with an infield hit to shortstop. That was at Wareham, but still trying to get his legs under him collectively. As the home plate umpire just issued a warning over there to Mike Roberts, and that was not a friendly warning. Obviously did not like what he heard from the Cotuit dugout, and a warning issued early. Obviously we know Mike Roberts was ejected earlier this year arguing a call at Falmouth, in which the Commodores and the Kettleers, well, although the Bourne Braves and the Kettleers may have the biggest rivalry currently in the Cape League, Falmouth and Cotuit aren't fond of each other.
No, and really anyone that you're going to face in the West Division you're not too fond of, but there's always something a little more dramatic and intense about a meeting between the Cotuit Kettleers and the Bourne Braves.
Good pitch there from Mancini. Jump behind in the count. Well, you take arguably the best fan base in the CCBO in the Cotuit Kettleers, and then you take maybe the biggest rising fan base, especially this season, in the Bourne Braves, and well, you're in for a doozy on Friday night between these two teams. As long as Falmouth does not win out and Cotuit does not lose out. That's the only scenario in which the Kettleers would not make the playoffs versus Falmouth. Obviously, we'll send it down to Calvin a little later in this game. Calvin will, again, update you on what needs to happen and go through some more scenarios. 1-2 to jump. Breaking ball. Good pitch that just missed. Well, Daniel, that's the way you want to start. Obviously, the Braves were behind the 8 ball and 9 to go. It was 3-0, then the air by Knapczyk cost 7 more runs in the inning for the Gatemen. So a good start for the Braves tonight, who spoiled a bases-loaded opportunity last night to get ahead early. And they're a 2-out hitting machine. As Jump sends this one high and deep to center field. Grady going back, but it looks like it hung up just enough, and it did. But the Braves get a big run in the first. It comes on a Tanner Schobel RBI double that brings home Dalton Rushing as we head to the second with the Braves on top, 1-0. Reeves Jackson and Daniel Coates, happy to be back with you here. Bourne Braves YouTube live stream in the regular season home finale, in which there has been so many incredible moments all season. We detailed some of them last night as we prepared for today, and we'll obviously take you through some of the key moments of this season, especially the ones here at Doran Park throughout the night here. As Jay Cheku primarily, and we'll just work out of the stretch. Of first pitch ball misses downstairs to Eric Brown Jr. Well, if Ryan Ritter has been the hottest hitter of the Cotuit lineup, not far behind him is the Coastal Carolina Chanticleer.
He's batting .281. In the middle part of this Cotuit Kettleer lineup is what you have to be most afraid of. A good first half inning from Jacek in his first start for the Braves from Indiana State, and he's going to face a red-hot team, the Cotuit Kettleers. Max Anderson with a great 5-4-3 double play over there down third. Was able to bail out Jacek a bit, but he gave up that first hit to the first batter.
Eric Brown sends this one to right. Colby Thomas had him played perfectly, guards the sun, and makes the catch for out number one. Well, that's a big out there for Jacek. If you take a look at the past few games for Eric Brown Jr., in the past two games specifically, well, you would expect him to have played well offensively when you're scoring 28 runs in those two games. And for Eric Brown, coming into today's game before that flyout, 6 for his last 10, with 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, and on a 5-game hitting streak dating back to the game against Bourne on July 27th when he drove in 5, including a bases-clearing double. So Brown flies out to bring up Noah Bridges as the UNC Wilmington left-handed hitting outfielder takes a ball outside.
What I've liked so far from Jacek is that he was able to bounce back after giving up a leadoff single to Jace Grady. It was a dribbler that went over his head over the mound, and Knapczyk wasn't able to come across the infield quick enough, and he just settled down, went 1-2-3 after that, and was able to finish off the rest of the side with the double play.
Bridges, slow chopper. Knapczyk with a second chance. Fields it cleanly. Gotta hurry. He does, and makes a strong throw to get Bridges.
Well, we talked about Tanner Schobel over at shortstop with that arm. There you go. Christian Knapczyk showing off his arm as well there, and he was able to beat out Noah Bridges. I'll tell you what, that's as fast and as quick a release from Christian Knapczyk that I've seen from the left side of the infield.
Here's Brett Roberts from Lithia Springs, Georgia. In Tallahassee with the Seminoles of Florida State. We know a few Florida State kids over in Hyannis is squaring to bunt, and pulling back for ball one is Roberts. Roberts against the Bourne Braves on July 27th hit that home run to right field, and I don't know if you remember that. The ball just seemed like a casual pop-up to right that ended up, I guess, catching the jet stream on a windy day in Cotuit and carried out of the park. As Roberts up the middle, Knapczyk to his left, ranges over, throws to first, and how about Matt Jacek? A 1-2-3 inning here for the Braves. They'll have their bats come back up in the home half. They lead by 1. Well, what a day we have in Bourne. Boy, is it great to see the fan base that has casually grown and grown and grown all season long. Obviously, you have a lot of the regular Bourne Braves fans, but when you're playing this well in the Cape, well, some of these fans out here, they really pander to the teams that are playing well, and that's what you got to love about this Cape League that makes it so unique. As Knapczyk takes that for a strike on the outer half, 0-1.
Well, how about this? So Harvey Shapiro decides to put Joe Lampe in the 1 spot, and Christian Knapczyk now at the 6 spot, and somehow he is leading off the 2nd inning, working perfectly, I'm sure, as Harvey Shapiro imagined.
Yeah, he knew that the first 5 were coming up. Braves were going to get a run. But you love to see Knapczyk, though.
It's almost like
all over the order.
Putting 2 spark plugs in certain positions in the lineup that can get things going. One is Joe Lampe. Now 2, or should I say 6 spot, Christian Knapczyk. He faces a 1-2 count, and we missed him for about a week early this week, and he had some family affairs to take care of, but we're glad to have him back. He is a catalyst for this offense, and it's good to see him in the middle of the lineup just to see what he could maybe do in that latter half of the lineup, latter half of the batting order.
Well, you take a look, there's obviously 9 guys in a lineup, so you can't split it perfectly in half. But if you divide it either way, you could either have the first 4 and then have Knapczyk at the 5 spot, or as Harvey Shapiro likes, the first 5, and then for the other half of the order, you could say, for the bottom 4 guys, you have Christian at the 6 spot. So almost you divide that lineup up, and you have Knapczyk, who's right in the middle, as almost that catalyst, as you mentioned, at least for this inning. You're not going to have Knapczyk always perfectly leading off to start an inning, but whenever he comes up, Knapczyk is almost that catalyst at the middle of the order, almost like a leadoff guy that sends it down to Huber, Thomas, and Burns, at least tonight.
And then all of a sudden, you're back at 1 with Joe Lampe.
As Knapczyk rips a single up the middle. Got a change up, and it hung in the middle. And the Braves' bats are hot tonight.
Knapczyk now 33 for 102, adding on to a 316 average. That's the best on this team, one of the best in the Cape, and the Louisville Cardinal continues to get it done for the Braves.
Here's Ben Huber. Huber was in the 3 spot in his first time in the lineup. That was at Wareham at Spillane. He was batting cleanup last night against the Gatemen in the home and home, and then tonight moving down in the order to the 7 spot. Harvey Shapiro trying to implement some power at the bottom half of this Braves order. Fastball, bottom half of the zone, called strike. We'll update you all night long on the out-of-town scores here around the Cape League. Currently, there has been one game that has gone final. You kind of forget that we have 4 o'clock start times nowadays, but you want to talk about a quick game. A 2-hour and 23-minute affair between Brewster and Hyannis. No, it did not end early. It just went final as Huber fouls this one off. The Brewster Whitecaps, shocker, shutting out the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 4-0. Meanwhile, YD is beating Chatham 5-1. The Gatemen and Falmouth Commodores are set to kick things off at 6:30. And the Harwich Mariners and Orleans Firebirds in what you could call a meaningless matchup, with both of those teams already having either A, secured their playoff spot in Harwich, or B, having been eliminated in Orleans. They play at 7. As Huber skies this one, shallow. In the outfield, going back is Brown, and the second baseman will have plenty of room to make the catch.
Huber was all over. He was making good contact, just couldn't straighten it out, and Brown makes the catch for out number 1. Still a lot of time to jump on Mancini this half inning. Knapczyk at first, and Colby Thomas dropping down in the lineup to the 8 spot. Peter Burns on deck. I like the way that this lineup is constructed tonight.
Here's Colby Thomas. Good rip right there. Into center field. Back goes Jace Grady. That one was hit on a line right there. But Grady makes the catch for out number 2.
Any other part of Doran Park, and that ball is out of here. Colby Thomas put a beating on that ball, but just too deep here in straightaway center field.
Well, we talked about Mancini's numbers. You mentioned how it wasn't the best year for the Boston College right-hander. A 7.38 ERA in 16 appearances, 39 innings, 32 earned runs. He got hit around the park all year, 47 hits allowed. He walked 21 and struck out 25. So if there's any pitcher the Braves can break out of a week-long slump in, it can be a guy in Joe Mancini here tonight.
And he's facing his college teammate, Peter Burns,
Yeah.
now.
How about this?
Well, I'm sure he knows a thing or two about the way Mancini throws from practice. And
Catching him, yeah.
yeah.
Well, he spits on a fastball that just missed 1-0 the count. And you look at the league leaders in runs scored. Well, number one after the course of the past 5 games is the Cotuit Kettleers. And they were trailing pretty far behind the Harwich Mariners up until the last few games, as Peter Burns pops this one over to the left side of the infield. Ryan Ritter calls off Brett Roberts, and he makes the catch. We'll dive into that a little more when we come back here on the broadcast. But first things first, joining you back up here in the broadcast booth, Reeves Jackson with you as we'll send things down to Calvin Cristoforo. Calvin, love having Matt Jacek now on the Braves pitching staff. He could be a big addition to the playoffs. Break down what we should expect to see from the Indiana State right-hander.
Well, Reeves, after throwing 2 scoreless frames in his first 2 innings in a Braves uniform, Matt Jacek is already making an impact, and that's impressive considering this is a guy who was only added to the roster 3 days ago on July 31st. You take a look at his numbers, an ERA just over 4.5 in 17 innings at Indiana State this year, but this summer he really shined in the Hamptons League, started the All-Star game down there, and this season went 5-0 on the mound, 42 strikeouts in 33 innings on the hill. And you look at his last appearance, last time he was on the mound on July 24th, a complete game shutout, allowing just 2 hits while striking out 11. So if the Braves are getting a guy who is just as good as he was in the Hamptons League, it is a late addition steal to this Braves pitching staff.
Back up here in the booth where the sun is really gleaming on us. I had to turn the camera. Daniel joins me a little close. How you doing, Daniel?
Doing good. Doing
But,
good. Whoa, too close.
Yeah.
We're finicking with the zoom in and out, but we got the sun going over here. We have to cram over and get into the shade. But a good start from the Braves, huh?
Yeah, how about
Jacek
that?
looking great.
How about Matt Jacek? Great report by Calvin, who really detailed the resume of what we should expect to see from Jacek, as the Kettleers have their 7, 8, 9 hitters up here at the top of the third, as I turn things over here to Daniel Coates.
Thank you, Reeves. The third inning for Jacek, swing and a miss. 7, 8, and 9 due up for the Cotuit Kettleers. Martorella swings through one. 1-0. The Braves have taken the lead early on at Bourne Park. Martorella batting .230. Now 1-1 for a Cotuit Kettleers team who, is used to putting up big numbers early on in these games, and nothing so far. Jacek looks like he's pitching with great efficiency and effectiveness to this top of the order. That one taken into right center. Down for a base hit. Martorella on to start things off for the Kettleers.
Well, maybe spoke a little too soon.
Jinxing it.
Now, what a good hit right there. I think the first hit of the game obviously easily could have been a ground out to Knapczyk. Just had a tough play running in which was an infield single for Grady, but that one a first true hit for the Kettleers in the bottom of the order, Nathan Martorella. But 2 guys who we're not used to seeing. We know a lot about the 1 through 7 hitters in the Cotuit lineup, but we don't know much and have not seen Matthew Suggs or William Gale yet. As we're used to Matt Donlin or Ben Rice. Obviously, Rice is gone, and Donlin, who's not in the lineup today, so we get to see Matthew Suggs.
Well, just to speak to the effectiveness of Jacek thus far, this will be his 20th pitch already through 2 innings. No outs here in the top of the third. Martorella on first. That was the second hit given up by Jacek today.
Well, you remember last night with Jake Bennett through 3 innings, had allowed 8 base knocks. So Braves hoping for better efficiency on the mound here tonight. Suggs, well, he came with Noah Bridges, his teammate of UNC Wilmington. Just 5 for 36 in his 12th game now is Suggs.
Batting .138. There goes Martorella. The throw from Burns. The tag. They call him safe on the outer corner of the bag. A close bang-bang play given to the Kettleers. Martorella on second.
Yeah, great slide there by Martorella. That was a bang-bang play. That throw is maybe just a hair on a fraction over towards the right side of the bag, at least from your high home view. Might have been able to get him, but I think the feet of Martorella got in there just before the tag. Good throw, though, by Pete.
Yeah, good throw. Martorella takes over second. Jacek with a 1-1. Suggs showing bunt. He gets it down right to Jacek. A bit of a fumble, but he got him at first. Martorella improves to third.
Yeah, great sack bunt there by the catcher Suggs. Obviously, Cotuit, we saw it obviously when we were at their place on Tuesday. They small balled the heck out of us on Tuesday. They were placing bunts all over the place, and it really had the Braves kind of scrambling on what to do defensively. And nice sack bunt there, just a pitch after Martorella takes second. Nice job there by Suggs. Braves infield coming in.
A squeeze.
Wow.
That one misses foul. How about that? Some aggressive base running from Roberts, who's the coach down third.
Yeah, suicide squeeze as well. They were stealing Martorella over there from third. You know, a lot of times you see the safety squeeze, and once you lay the bunt down, runner comes home regardless of where it is. Well, coming home there was Martorella. He doesn't get that down. That's an easy second out for Bourne. I doubt they do it again. That's a play really just keep on one time, and then it's off.
The infield, especially the corners in. That breaking ball for strike two. A costly bunt foul for William Gale at the 9 spot. On deck is the top of the order and Jace Grady. 1-2 with 1 out. Martorella on third. High, deep drive. That's going to drift foul down the right field line. Just missing foul. We've seen a couple of foul balls just to the right of Froggy's pole. And that for a ballpark that has been mainly dominated by balls hit to left field, right field getting some love, getting some action down the third base line or the first base line at the 300 mark.
Yeah, it sure is.
Keeping Colby Thomas down the right field line on his toes.
Daniel, this might be the biggest crowd of the season tonight.
I think it might be.
This is packed.
And the
packed
crazy
house.
thing is that we're expecting more on Friday night.
Maybe twice as more.
1-2, grounder to Tanner Strobel. He bobbles it. The throw, Dalton rushing isn't on the bag, and the Cotuit Cavaliers tie up this game. Martorella scoring from third. The infield was in. Tanner Strobel attacked the ground ball like he was going to go home with it, but wasn't able to field it cleanly, and I think Dalton Rushing just assumed he was going to go home no matter what and that he would field it cleanly.
Yeah, going to be an E4 on Tanner Strobel. Usually a play you see him make. I think Tanner was looking up before he got that ball in the glove just to see if he had time to get Martorella, but was trying to do step 2 before step 1, and Cotuit gets a run, and reaching on the air over there is Gale.
First run given up by Jacek in his Cape Cod League career. The top of the order, Jace Grady with Gale at first. It will be counted as an E4. Good tag by Rushing, but he's safe. Just like that, this game is tied up. And again, small ball really the name of the game for the Cavaliers.
Yeah, it hurts the Braves once again. Great job by Cotuit. Just manufacturing runs with ABC Baseball.
There goes Gale. The slap to right. Colby Thomas, it goes off his glove. Coming around is Gale, held up by Roberts. And there goes Grady to second. Men on second and third. That's the second hit for Jace Grady and 2 Cavaliers in scoring position.
Yeah, just great piece of hitting by Grady. Colby Thomas was going to try to come in and make that catch and then double off the runner, Gale. But instead of letting it drop and just letting it be a first and third situation, Colby tried to get it, kicked it a little bit, and then obviously with Roberts at least faking the wave home of Gale, it allowed Colby to throw the ball all the way to the plate and allowed Grady to move up a single and then advance the second on the throw. And the corners will come in here for the Braves.
Corners in once again. Breaking ball missing inside to the 2 spot, Carter Trice. William Gale, who got on base with an E4, now at third, leading the way behind him, Jace Grady with his second base knock of the day. Carter Trice with a swing and a whiff.
Yeah, Trice from Old Dominion, his old teammate Andy Garriella, who went home early, no longer on the team, but we're teammates at Old Dominion. But Trice has struggled a bit. Just a .231 hitter, 9 for 39 since he came over from Mechanicsville, Virginia.
1-1. A great pitch on the outside.
And then, hey, look, this is a very successful inning for the Bourne Braves if they surrender 2. If it's 2-1, you're down by 1 run, that's a good inning. Still come back, especially with the runners on, but you got to try your best to prevent Grady from scoring here this inning. Obviously, it'd be even more fantastic if you strike out Trice and retire Ritter.
Stays at 1-2. As you said, Reeves, this was a big moment for Jacek in his first appearance for the Braves. Men on second and third to quite arguably the best offense in the Cape at the moment.
Yeah, without a doubt. No question about that. At least over the past 5 games, not an offense hotter, and you hope they can cool down by Friday.
1-2. Swing and a miss. Down goes the 2-spot Carter Trice. We're 1 out away from stranding 2 base runners in scoring position for Cotuit.
Yeah, great pitch right there by Jacek. Just rode that fastball upstairs and got Trice to follow along with it. As Ryan Ritter, who they got to strike out looking in that first inning, coming up in a big situation. We mentioned his meteoric rise in the Cotuit lineup. You talk about this hitting streak. 9 games in a row with a hit for Ryan Ritter.
Heck of a stop by Peter Burns on a ball low and outside. And Ryan Ritter, a guy that you do not want to see up in the batter's box with 2 men in scoring position.
Yeah, 5 of those games, too, multi-hit games for Ritter in the past 9. That has had his 9-game hitting streak. No homers in that span, as 1 bomb on the year is driven in 7.
1-1. We saw at Lowell Park 2 errors that proved costly in a big half-inning rally by the Cotuit Cavaliers. And again, something that has plagued the Bourne Braves over the last handful of games has really been the error column. And again, we have one early on. Swing and a miss from Ritter. 1 pitch away for Jacek. Men on second and third. Tie game at Doran Park.
Big pitch right here. Gotta try to get Ritter here and keep this game at a deadlock going to the home third.
The 1-2. Just missing downstairs. 2-2. A big moment for Jacek from Indiana State. 2-2. Pop fly in the infield. Coming in is Max Anderson. He gets it, and down goes Ritter for the second time today. Jacek works out of a jam. This game is tied, and again, the small ball and the errors are what allows the Cotuit Cavaliers to tie this game at Doran Park. We have a good one in a playoff preview at Doran Park. Joe Lampe due up. Tie game in the bottom of the third. And what is most likely a playoff preview game against the Cotuit Cavaliers for the Bourne Braves atop the West Division.
Yeah, big win for the Braves. Last half inning, you surrender one run, and Cotuit could have easily had two more. They did rule an error on Colby Thomas in right field for that ball kick, but the Braves are able to work out of two errors in the inning. So good job for Bourne.
Joe Lampe behind 0-2, and an error given to Colby Thomas in right. He bobbled it for a base knock, and the same in the right side of the infield from Tanner Schobel. Two errors in this game thus far for the Braves. Foul it off, it stays at 0-2.
Yeah, the Braves are going to have to jump on Mancini. Look, they've been able to get consistently hard-hit balls off of him. Obviously, that one run, it was a clutch two-out double by Schobel. They hit the ball hard last half inning, especially Colby Thomas and Christian Knapczyk. Knapczyk had the single, but the Braves can just get these balls in the gaps and manufacture some runs. They'll be in for a good night.
One run given up in the top of the third. Ground ball to the right side. Joe Lampe trying to beat it out. Not in time, out one.
Yeah, good pitch there by Mancini. Just got Joe to roll over to the right side, and it was easy over there for Eric Brown.
Max Anderson stepping in. He struck out in his last appearance in the first.
Let's see Max with another home run tonight. What do you say, Daniel?
I would love to see that. Nothing too much, nothing terribly far to the left side of the outfield here today, other than Tanner Schobel ripping one down the third base line. And Max Anderson really likes to pull the ball. This one taken high and deep to left. Is that going to get out of here? Jumping up, it's gone! Max Anderson pulling it to left and sending one out of here. 2-1, the Braves lead.
Well, they say that broadcasters' jinx are always bad. I'm here to tell you that they're not.
How about that, Max Anderson? Third home run of the season for the Nebraska Cornhusker. He gives the Braves the lead once again.
Well, my wish came true. Was hoping for a Max Anderson homer. I said, how about it? And on cue delivers with a blast that closely mirrored last night's homer. He did indeed. How about that? And the Braves back in front.
Dalton Rushing trying to respond after a solo shot from Max Anderson. 1-0 to the kid who's batting .297 coming into this game. 2-0, and Mancini now giving up 2 runs against the Braves. They have the lead and bounce back after stranding 2 Cavaliers on second and third in the last inning. (3-0) quickly to Dalton Rushing. Finds the strike zone. This will be Mancini's 46th pitch. 47th pitch, I should say. That was the 46th. Tanner Schobel on deck. Rushing a hard-hit grounder. Fielded cleanly by Brown. The flick over to first for out number 2. Max Anderson with his 3rd home run, and it was a bomb. Gale jumping up, trying to rob it. He went over the left field wall, and that ball just continued to drift and drift and drift. It looked like a deep fly ball, but the wind at Doran Park working in our favor.
How about Gale taking a tumble over the wall out in left field with an extraordinary effort. Was down for a minute, but glad to see he's all right as well.
Tanner Schobel with 2 outs, trying to keep this inning alive, 0-1. Schobel had an RBI double in his last appearance to the plate. He's down now behind the count, 0-2. Weak line drive to left. Gale underneath it, out 3. Mancini allows a solo shot from Max Anderson. And just like that, the Braves retake the lead, moving towards the top of the 4th here at Doran Park.
Back up here in the Bourne Braves broadcast booth, where we're joined by our public address announcer, Will Henschel. Will, go to Syracuse, obviously, and do broadcasting. So we're going to have Will hop on here in the 4th inning and take it away on the play-by-play with the Cotuit Kettleers coming up 4, 5, and 6 here in the top of the 4th. Will, take it away, my friend.
And you hear on the mic our former broadcaster turned public address announcer, Dan Coates, making the first announcement. But J-Check still on the bump for Bourne, facing Eric Brown. The first pitch there, low in the dirt for ball 1. Our GM Darren Weeks and beat reporter Nick Galley making a impromptu appearance up on the broadcast deck. The 1-0 swung on half-heartedly by Brown. That's going to put strike 1 on the board.
Those fools thought they were on the camera. And then they forgot to look at the monitor right here, and they were not on the camera.
Their moment of fame shattered.
Darren was trying to give me the bunny ears. Nick Galley was trying to give a thumbs up, and now they just look like clowns.
Just outsmarted by the broadcasters up here.
What a game this has been, though, Will.
Oh, phenomenal. I mean, the home run by Anderson just hit barely getting out of the fence. The 1-1. Low again, same spot as the first pitch there. That's going to post ball 2 up there. But we were saying in the broadcast booth, just to our right, I mean, if the guy was probably 4 or 5 inches away from making a SportsCenter top 10 level catch out there in the left center power alley. The 2-1. Strike 2 called. Had Brown fooled. Looks like it got the outside edge of the plate. So now 2 balls, 2 strikes on Brown. J-Check working at a decent clip here. Some cloud coverage here at Doran Park. Sheltering the sun, and Brown calls a late timeout. J-Check had already gone through his delivery.
I have to ask you, Will, are you a fan of late granted times like that? Or are you more let the hitter hit and let the pitcher deliver? Especially when it's that way. What do you like?
Well, timeouts are obviously part of part of the game. And you know, the pitcher is throwing so fast these days, you got to give the batter a little bit of help. The 2-2. Swung on there by Brown, driven to the third baseman. Anderson fields it cleanly. The shot over is in time for the out. So Brown chop single over to third. Dalton Rushing with the snag. And that's 1 up, 1 down on Cotuit.
Now batting, the right fielder from UNC Wilmington, number 20, Noah Bridges.
How about Daniel
Dan's
Coates on the
good
public
out there.
address announcer? Wow.
Okay. I might this might have to be a playoff thing now. I mean, Dan's killing it. So this brings up Noah Bridges.
I hope Daniel's listening in here. Daniel, we'll trade you. Will for Daniel.
That's a straight up. The broadcast crew acquires Will Henschel and an unknown money salary. Chopped the first baseman. Rushing fields it cleanly. Rushes over to field his base and makes it in time. So Noah Bridges swings at the first pitch he sees, drives it right over to Dalton Rushing, who's now standing in the sunlight and he fields his position perfectly for the second out of the inning.
What I would have hated to see if there was a collision over there between Dalton Rushing and Noah Bridges. Rushing is built like a middle linebacker in the NFL, and then you have Noah Bridges who was built like a regular baseball player, I guess you could say.
Who's built like your well, I mean, it's hard to say any of these guys are average athletes.
Yes, exactly.
But if you're going to say he was an average Cape League player, Brett Roberts would be that guy. Or, excuse me, Noah Bridges would be that guy as Brett Roberts steps into the batter's box and looks at ball one.
How about the crowd today? We were talking about it on the air a few innings ago. It might be the biggest crowd of the year, and we expect double this on Friday for our first playoff
I
game.
cannot wait to see what Friday brings. 1-0 swung on there and driven into the left center gap. Lampy there with the field, guns it over to Knapczyk, and Brett Roberts has a single for the first hit of Cotuit's inning.
Yeah, Brett Roberts, who had that home run the last time we were at Lowell Park on Tuesday, it was a ball that just drifted into right field.
As Dan makes the unfortunate first mistake that all public addressers must go through.
Oh, Daniel. Daniel.
Daniel, shake it off.
He was so good on the first one, it could only go downhill from there.
I
and
mean,
now it can only go back uphill.
I know. No, well, Dan's going to crank it up to 11 right now and just be perfect for the rest of the time. That one gets through Peter Burns, 5-hole style. Roberts takes off to second, uncontested. So now a runner in scoring position with 2 down for Cotuit. As Martorell is now up, and that's going to be ball one on him.
Yeah, Martorella, who had that solid line drive single into right field in his first plate appearance. He later came home and scored on the ground ball by William Gale that Schobel charged, committed the air, was trying to got him down at home before he fielded the ground ball, and that's how Cotuit got their first run across.
The 1-0 swung on there by Martorella and sent onto the roof of Upper Cape Cod Regional Technical High School. Yeah, and we were debating that play in the, with Bob, our scorekeeper, and the league scorekeeper, and Mike, the scoreboard operator here. We were really debating if Schobel had to play at home there. We decided eventually, oh no, as a terrible error is committed there, Jacek threw it over to second base trying to keep Brett Roberts humble, but no one was home. And Roberts is now only 90 feet away from Cotuit's tying run.
Yeah, just obviously miscommunication there between Knapczyk and Jacek. Obviously with the left-handed hitting Martorella up, you're going to have Knapczyk over there, shortstop covering the bag, and the jump throw there by Jacek and no one home.
So miscommunication, the 1-1 swung on there. It's high, but doesn't quite have the legs, and easy catch there made by Hunter Jump. So a bit of a scare there as Brett Roberts gets all the way to third base with a good knock, a pass ball, and a wild play by the pitcher, but no damage done. It's 2-1 as we move to the bottom of the fourth. Back here at Bourne Park as the Braves now taking the bat in their half of the fourth inning. Hunter Jump leading off. We've got Jump, Knapp, and Ben Huber due up for the Bravos as the sun just gets lower here, and this day just couldn't be better for some baseball. I mean, with all the rain that we've had in July, August has treated us very well so far.
Let's hear how Daniel does here.
Hunter Jump.
Hey, perfect.
Perfection. Perfection. Jump steps into the left-handed batter's box and looks at ball one inside and in the dirt.
I think you're right, though. Obviously, the weather here in the Cape, very uncharacteristic for July weather, but here in August thus far, it has been perfect. Sunny days. Even yesterday was gorgeous. Had some cloud cover. Tonight's great, and obviously the weather forecast for Thursday doesn't look so good, but let's hope that rain can get out of here before Friday.
The one off day we have. It's such a rare off day for you guys. Wish the weather could be better.
Yes.
Jumps looks at ball two that was inside and then looks at ball three, which is outside. And I would doubt that Jump's bat is going to get off his shoulder on this pitch.
Yeah, very rare do you see Harvey Shapiro implement the green light on 3-0.
And that is why, as he takes ball four pitches, 4 balls, and Jump takes first base.
From the University of Louisville, number 2, Christian Napchek.
I like, honestly, Dan is kind of giving me a run for my money right now.
Now, Will, you're the man.
I'm a bit scared here.
Will, you're the man. No one beats Willie Hench, DJ Willie Hench.
DJ Willie Hench.
The PA announcer, public address announcer, and the best DJ in all of the Cape.
I appreciate it.
Yes.
Well, I get so many song recommendations from my parents. I mean, the music is just second nature at this point. Napchek swings at the first pitch he sees. Oh, and an error there on Ryan Ritter. Hunter Jump is going to make it all the way to third base on the slide. And Napchek's got himself a single, and Bourne has a runner in scoring position as Ben Huber steps up. Such a rare error that we've seen from Ryan Ritter. I mean, the middle infielders of Ryan Ritter and Brown, they've basically been the face of this Cotuit defense the entire season. For them to have an error like that, pretty unprecedented.
Very rare. We talked about it even on the top of the broadcast, Daniel and I, about how Ryan Ritter and Eric Brown, probably your best defensive combination up the middle of any CCBL team. That is a rare error for Ryan Ritter. Going to have to go check right now on Ritter and see how many errors that is for Ritter now on the season. And I'm sure it's not many.
Huber swings at the first ball he sees. It's driving into right field. It gets down! Napchek takes off to third. Hunter Jump's going to score easily. And the Braves take a 3-1 lead off the Ben Huber RBI.
How about that right there? Ben Huber not wasting any time taking that first pitch into right center field. Jace Grady almost made an incredible diving catch out there. I thought he was going to let it drop and then have a play and try to keep Ben Huber at first. He tried to lay out and make the incredible catch. I didn't think he had the room or the space to do that, and he did. Ball gets past him, and Huber gets the second. And with nobody down here, Will, obviously for the Braves, and Colby Thomas, who had that hard line out to center in his last time, well, maybe it's the Braves' turn for a big inning here tonight, just like Wareham had a night ago.
Well, let's hope. They've got 2 runners in scoring position, 1 run already tacked on, no outs. I mean, you could not, if you're the Braves, you could not ask for a better scenario to pull away in this inning. It's the 4th inning. They've already scored in 3 of the innings provided. Let's make it a big one, I'm saying, if I'm Harvey Shapiro.
Absolutely.
Mancini, the delivery on the 0-0. Ooh, as Colby Thomas takes a big hack at the first pitch he sees, but comes up with nothing but air, as that's going to be no balls and 1 strike to open up that at-bat. And, yeah, nearly a fantastic diving catch there by Grady. I mean, we've nearly seen 2 SportsCenter Top 10-esque catches right there out in right field on the Max Anderson homer and right there on the Ben Huber RBI. But Cotuit gloves, thankfully for the Braves, coming up empty-handed. The 0-1. Chop there by Colby Thomas, but well foul into the construction area here at Doran Park, and the kids go swarming.
I was about to say, you're used to telling the kids to stay out the construction
area.
Yeah. Well, Colby Thomas, you speak of SportsCenter Top 10 catches and web gems. This is a guy who has a ton this year defensively for the Braves.
No, he's manned the outfield so consistently well, and he's got we've seen, how many outfield assists have we seen from this?
At least 3 or 4 from Colby, or from the Braves outfield in general, a lot.
Takes a hack at the 0-2 count. That gets through the infield, and Christian Napchek scores. Got crossed up a bit of my words, but Napchek, the RBI single. Huber reaches third, and is now 3-1 Bourne.
Yeah, just a great piece of hitting there by Colby Thomas. If the infield's not in there, then that's going to be a play that Roberts makes, but obviously Cotuit trying to cut down another run before trailing by at least 3, and Colby Thomas just rips that into left field. Braves have him at the corners, and it looks like, Mike Roberts is going to be out to make a pitching change for the Kettleers.
Yeah, it looks like it. And we were just saying, Mike Roberts playing very far in, trying to make that play at home and cut down on this Bourne this Bourne lead. But, you know, if you cut down on the distance, you cut down on your reaction time, and he was just out of time on the outstretched glove to make a play at the plate. But we are going to be seeing a Cotuit pitching change. So we'll take a quick break and get the info on that new arm coming right up. Back here at Dorn Park, new pitcher to talk about here from North Carolina State, number 51, Logan Adams. He's only thrown an inning and a third with a 27 ERA, 2 strikeouts, 1 base on balls, and 5 hits as he steps up on the undulation to face Peter Burns. So Burnsy's got a good opportunity on a pitcher that doesn't have the best slash line, and with Ben Huber on third base and a speedy Colby Thomas on first. He looks at the 0-0. Outside and high for ball 1.
Yeah, obviously very small sample size for Logan Adams. Obviously you don't want a 27 ERA regardless of how many innings you've pitched. But
yeah, absolutely.
For Adams, an inning and a third, that was versus Orleans. 3 hits, 2 earned runs, and his last inning against Falmouth did not record an out. 2 hits, 2 runs, faced 4 batters, and was promptly yanked from the game as that one misses high. But a walk in that outing for Logan Adams, so gave up 2 hits, a walk, and also hit a batter. So not what you want to do in your 4 batters.
Yeah, no, not exactly. And, of course, you know, small sample size and, of course, you know, Cape League jitters, I would imagine, are a real thing. Here's the 2-0 in there for strike 1. That had some gas on it as Adams pumps strike 1 up on Peter Burns.
How cool is it, though, seeing an NC State Wolfpack player up here? Obviously, their magical run into the College World Series. You hated how their season ended. We've talked about that. It just feels like unfair from the standpoint of what happened to their team. But, you know, great season, and got to be proud of what they accomplished if you're a Wolfpack fan.
The 2-1 pitch there is at Peter Burns' ankle in the dust. So that's going to be 3 balls, 1 strike. Joe Lampe on deck will look to extend the damage of the inning already done. Already 2 runs posted for Bourne. But yeah, I mean, that run that NC State had at Omaha, that Cinderella run that really nobody saw coming, so devastating how it ended. The 3-1 swung on there by Peter Burns, chopped right to the second baseman. Play made on it, and the out is there. Brown getting over into the gap and shooting out Peter Burns. But Colby Thomas reaches second base safely, and this brings Joe Lampe up with 1 out and 2 runners in scoring position. My high school coach would call that, what Peter Burns just executed, the swinging bunt.
Yes, right? No matter where it is, he got Colby Thomas to second, retired Pete over there at first, but staying at third is Huber, so at least it does some production in at least one aspect, moves the runner over. Now Joe has to get him in.
Joe takes strike 1 right down the middle. Looks like it fooled him a little bit on the breaking ball.
That's got to be tough. Those shadows right now are brutal.
Yeah, the light difference from where the pitcher releases the ball from when it is getting, from where the batter would be making a decision on it is totally different. The 0-1 in there for ball 2. If you think of the eye, like a camera, that's, a totally different exposure from what the ball is coming at. So the adjustment is pretty crazy. I would imagine it would be interesting to see, during this time of day, what do the batting averages do when the shadows are at play versus when, the sun is high or when the lights are on?
Absolutely. That would be cool analytical stats to look at.
Well, sports science here. 1-1 pitch is swung on by Lampe into the left center gap. Outfielders giving chase. Overhand catches there. Huber tags up, reaches home safely, and Colby Thomas at third. That is 3 runs this inning for the Braves, as Gale makes the over-the-shoulder catch to retire Lampe, but the tag up and the run scores. And now Max Anderson from the University of Nebraska stepping in with Colby Thomas standing on third base.
Yeah, great job there by Joe Lampe. Just did the job, got the ball out of the outfield, productive out, brings home a run, and the Braves, big 4-run lead here so far at Doran.
5-1 now the score. Anderson looks at ball 1, low and away.
Max Anderson, how about that towering home run he had last inning? His second homer in as many nights. Had that no doubt 3-run shot down 10-0. So not the most meaningful homer a night ago, but a very meaningful shot to get the Braves their second run last inning.
No, the shot heard around Doran. I mean, it was it was a tough game because especially in that situation, if you remember last night's game, the throwing error by Napchik with 2 outs in that inning. Had those runs not happened, that would have been it would have been a 3-3 game with that home run. But just an unfortunate circumstance. The 2-0 in there just caught the outside edge of the plate for strike 1, 2-1 the count. But I mean, Max Anderson's home run last night was no doubter. That was an explosion off the bat. But he digs in for the 2-1. Mancini with the delivery. Low in the dirt, and a great play by the catcher, Suggs, to get in front of that and prevent Colby Thomas from reaching. I'm getting crossed up on my names. The play-by-play is, it's getting in my head.
You're doing great, Will.
The 3-1. Mancini gives Thomas a glance, the delivery. Upstairs for ball 4, and Max Anderson gets a free march down the first baseline, and coming up now is a hitter I would not want to be seeing if I was Mancini. Dalton Rushing from Louisville, who can absolutely destroy baseballs when he gets into it. Played a bit of right field yesterday, had an absolute laser of an outfield assist down by third base, but playing the one-bag position now and doing that job defensively just as well.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see Rushing take over right field. Obviously, that throw he made over to third.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my gosh. I was like, he finally got to unleash those throws from home plate down to second base, in which Dalton Rushing has thrown laser beams from his knees. Got to really extend it last night from right field to third.
Yeah, got to activate the legs in on the throws.
But how about Rushing at the plate? I mean, a guy who's been so consistent for this team all season long. His average dipped just below 300 coming into today's game, obviously. But Dalton, who's going to be one of the more prominent hitters in the Braves lineup come postseason time, you're going to really need his bat going. And every time he comes to the plate, he's a threat to go deep.
Absolutely. Coming in, like you just said, just under 300 at 297. His first at-bat, he actually came around to score. He was the Braves' lone run in the first inning. So anytime Dalton Rushing steps into that batter's box, he's you got to worry about him.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Bit of a check swing on the 1-0 count. They're going to call it a strike. That's going to be 1-1.
Obviously, for both of these teams, we're going to see much different pitching matchups when it comes to Friday if Cotuit is that team. Obviously, we'll send it down to Calvin in just a little bit. He'll kind of run you through what could still happen with Cotuit and with Falmouth. And there still is a small chance, we'll let Calvin explain that we could see Falmouth.
And we have our official league scorer, Bob, in there, who must go through hours and hours of statistical
Bob's
work
the best.
to give us these stat sheets of all these scenarios that have to happen or could happen for each team to make the playoffs. I mean, that's honestly like MLB grade statistic stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's super cool what can happen and what is in play.
The 2-1 pitch just upstairs there for ball 3.
Obviously, on Friday, we're likely going to get Austin Parsley. Maybe Michael Sansone, but I assume it'll be Parsley considering he pitched a day earlier than Michael. Give Michael an extra day of rest. And for Cotuit, it's an interesting proposition whether they want to go Jake Brooks in Game 1 or whether they want to save Jake Brooks, who's had a better home ERA at Lowell Park.
Dalton Rushing swings at that one, drives it into right field. Colby Thomas scores no problem. And Dalton Rushing, ever the danger at the plate, knocks another RBI single to add to this Bourne Braves lead. It's now a 4-run fourth inning. The lead inflating to 5 runs. It's 6-1 in favor of the Bravos.
Yeah, Tanner Schobel now coming to the plate. And how about the rise of Tanner Schobel for this Bourne Braves team? It came into, well, maybe 11 days ago, hitting around 255, 260, 265. And then just the other day, was tied for Christian Knapczyk with the team lead at 319. Tanner, who comes into this game hitting nearly 300, has been red hot. That's why he's in the cleanup spot for the Bravos.
Swings at the first pitch. He sees driven into left field. It's going to drop. Coming around is Max Anderson. No throw at the plate there, and Tanner Schobel back-to-back RBI singles for Rushing and Schobel. It is now 7-1 after a 5-run fourth inning.
Number 29, Hunter Jump.
And Hunter Jump now steps in, and it looks like, Mike Roberts coming out to give the Cotuit pitching staff another change. Although the other infields aren't surrounding him, might just be a bit of a pep talk, as I don't see anybody getting warm out in right field.
Well, how about this, Will? The second time this season for the Bourne Braves that they have batted around in an inning. Obviously, Hunter Jump, who started this inning with that base on balls. And the other time the Braves did that was in their 6-run inning when they scored 10 against the Harwich Mariners in their big 9th inning outburst. And here against Cotuit, a 5-run fourth. We talked about it last night, a 9-run fifth for Wareham when things kind of imploded because of an error. You look at that Ryan Ritter error, which shockingly, I was looking at it, his 8th error of the season, which is tied for 3rd most in the CCBL. But the Braves have really jumped on it after that error. There's 2 down in the inning, and arguably, obviously, you would say that Cotuit should be out of this inning, which they would have been if Ritter made that play. But the Braves, as Wareham did a night ago, are taking advantage of the opportunities they have been given, and they are all over Logan Adams, who has not been pitching well since his arrival at Cotuit. And the Braves with a big 7-1 lead. And I was talking with Daniel about this. I think you would agree. This is a statement game for tonight.
Absolutely.
For Friday.
Absolutely. Friday, this is the last home game of the season. Big crowd here. Cotuit, a team right on the precipice of getting into the playoffs. Still a tough battle, like you were saying, with Falmouth. Definitely could be the matchup that the Braves will be seeing on the first home game this upcoming Friday for the playoffs. Why not get a win right here? Have the last one, have the last laugh going into the playoffs as Hunter Jump sends a fly ball out to left field. Gale parks under it and makes the snag. So finally, Cotuit gets their 3rd out, but not after the Bravo Bats swing around and tack on 5 runs. 7-1 as we enter the 5th inning of play, and I step back into the broadcast booth to resume my public address duties. But
Will?
Reeves, thank you so much for having me on.
Well, you were fantastic, and there's no better inning as coming on for the broadcaster, and you get the offense batting around and scoring 5 runs. So I'm sure you had a good time, and look forward to having you on again here come postseason time.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
We'll take a quick break, but the 5th inning coming right up here from Doran Park.
Well, how about that inning for the Bourne Braves? Will Henschel took us through it. Daniel Coates with one of the more entertaining and fun renditions of the public address announcing. Daniel, let me just tell you how much fun this crowd had with that. That was awesome.
That was great.
Will
just add a little spice to the PA.
Yeah, it was awesome. Will was great on here. I told Will there is no better feeling than coming on the play-by-play and getting the Bourne Braves batting around for their second time this season with a 5-run inning. Will was fantastic. You were fantastic. A fun switch for Megan and Mike, our scoreboard director, and our director and Megan, and our producer. And just a fun inning and a fun game for the Bourne Braves tonight, who now lead it 7-1. And just as they did, Will and I were talking about it, just as Wareham took advantage of the Bourne Braves on an error by Knapczyk, the Braves take advantage of an error on Ryan Ritter.
Yeah, and that's what sparked that whole half inning. And again, as much as the errors have plagued the Bourne Braves, so too have they plagued the Cotuit Cavaliers, one of the top teams in errors in the entire Cape Cod League. And down goes the first batter in Matthew Suggs.
Well, great job here for Matt Jacek thus far tonight. Boy, has he been impressive. Just 1 run on 4 hits. He's had 3 errors committed behind him, so he hasn't been exactly helped out by his defense. But Matt Jacek, coming in from Indiana State, has been stellar. This one lifted to center. Right there is Joe Lampe for out number 2. If Jacek can really step into this rotation and pitch like he has tonight against the most explosive offense of the course of the past week, well, then the Braves might have found a diamond in the rough from Indiana State out of the Missouri Valley Conference.
Most certainly, especially after a bullpen that's fairly depleted. For him to come in and really be a guy who we can depend on as a starter as we move, hopefully, more deep into the playoffs, Jacek is showing us all the signs that he can be that guy right now.
Fastball out or half called strike there to Jace Grady, the leadoff hitter for the Cotuit Cavaliers. I just want to let you know something, Daniel. Chris and Stephen Carey, Cotuit's play-by-play broadcasters, just told me that they have been talking about your public address announcing for the last 5 minutes on the broadcast because they found it so entertaining and fun.
Well, I'm glad. I tried to add a little diversification, give a little, just keep the fans on their toes a little bit. I added some Earth, Wind, and Fire in between the innings.
I love it.
I played some Avicii.
Absolutely loved it. It was fantastic.
And you know what? I was telling our production team that it's almost like we switched up the equilibrium, and all of a sudden the Bourne Braves are back to their winning ways.
Maybe that's all it took.
Maybe
Ground
that's
ball
what
to
it
second
took.
for Jace Grady. And how about the stellar outing thus far tonight of Matt Jacek? If he's done, he just went through 5 stellar innings of 1-run baseball. Braves bats, back up with the bottom of the lineup coming up in the home 5th. Christian Knapczyk leads things off here for the Bravos in the bottom of the 5th inning. As that breaking ball misses high and away from Logan Adams, who the Braves just touched up after the exit of Joe Mancini. And now here Logan Adams, who has not had a good start to his short time in the CCBL. 1-0 the count here to Knapczyk, who singled his last time and watches this one miss upstairs again. 2 balls and no strikes. What a day here at Bourne Park.
The Braves have completely flipped the narrative on its head as far as what we struggled with. Now the Cotuit Cavaliers are giving us opportunities off of errors, and the Braves have put up a half-inning rally of their own. And again, look who's up to bat. Christian Knapczyk, who's usually seen in the leadoff spot. Again, another great job by Harvey Shapiro, who you mentioned earlier on. The lineup worked so well early on in the season, but he switched it up, was trying to see what exactly would work. And as you see there, Christian Knapczyk takes over first.
Knapczyk aboard to first, base on balls. Good start for the Braves.
Now batting, the DH from Yukon, number 30, Ben Huber.
Here is Ben Huber. Now the Cotuit middle infield shifts into double play depth. Well, if this is the game the Bourne Braves needed to break out of this little funk they're in and to kind of kick back the Cavaliers off of their pedestal, well then, what a night to do it. Here on a Monday in the regular season home finale. Braves played 2 road games before an off day Thursday before getting the postseason started Friday right here at Bourne Park, 6 p.m. start time. And over in Brewster, it'll be a 4 p.m. start time for Harwich and the Whitecaps. That's on Friday. Your 2 postseason matchups. But the Braves still don't know for sure whether it'll be Cotuit. Bottom of the 6th inning, we will send it down to Calvin Cristoforo. Calvin's going to give us the rundown on Falmouth and Cotuit. I know we've been teasing you about that all night long, but there's still an interesting scenario. We won't explain it to you yet. We'll have Calvin do that. But there's still an interesting scenario in which Falmouth could make the playoffs. We'll just leave it at that and let Calvin take you through the rest of that. 0-2. To Huber, breaking ball that gets past the catcher, Suggs, and up to second goes Knapczyk.
Good job to be alert by Knapczyk. Again, taking over and jumping all on the opportunities that the Cotuit Cavaliers have given us defensively. How about Ben Huber? Base hit and scoring an inning ago in the 4th. He has been one difference maker. We saw it at Wareham at Spillane Field in his first at-bat. We're seeing it again here tonight.
Knapczyk, big secondary. Huber sends this one into right center field. Will Knapczyk try to tag? Over there in right is Bridges. He makes the catch. Here comes Knapczyk to third. Strong throw on the bag, but Knapczyk slides into third safely. What a strong throw there from Bridges. But now the Braves have a runner 90 feet closer with 1 down.
Yeah, an effective out by Huber. Got Christian Knapczyk over to third, and now another one of those sacrifice flies, maybe from Colby Thomas, will score him. Certainly a single would.
First pitch missed inside there to Colby. Over there at third is Knapczyk.
Colby's 1 for 2 on the day. He scored a run and had a base hit in the bottom of the 4th. When, as you mentioned, Reese, all of the interns kind of swapped in our different roles. I got a chance behind PA, and Mike got a chance to do the graphics. If he accidentally put it on you guys at one point. Which is hilarious because it's just completely us not prepared watching the game. But and then Megan was on scoreboard, and it somehow moved around the, whatever it was,
the good
whatever
fortunes.
the good fortune, whatever the equilibrium.
The baseball
is here.
gods.
The baseball gods noticed, and the Braves explode for 5 in the bottom of the 4th.
3-0. Strike in there to Colby. Well, I think you could not talk about a tale of 2 nights more differently than what we've experienced last night and tonight. Last night, the energy in the ballpark, well, simply there was just none. Tonight, everybody's buzzing. You use that word, and I love that word he uses. Colby Thomas lifts this into center field. Grady backs up. He makes the catch. Knapczyk will easily come on home. Braves have scored their 8th run of the night on a sac fly RBI for Colby Thomas.
There you go, Colby Thomas, another RBI. That's his 14th of the year. And as we mentioned, Colby Thomas, sacrifice fly out to center. He has hit 2 in the deepest part of Doran Park tonight. He had one back in his first appearance in the second inning, and there, right there, anywhere else other than center field, that could have had a chance to get over the fence.
Here is Peter Burns. The 9-hole hitting catcher is 0 for 2 with a pop out and a ground out over to shortstop. As we check on some scores around the Cape Cod Baseball League, Falmouth and Wareham is scoreless in the top of the third. As Burns cuts and misses there, 0-2 the count.
Peter Burns still looking for his first hit of the day. He's 0 for 2. He had a pop fly to short in the second, and in the fourth, a ground out to short. This entire lineup has been contacting the ball and been on top of these Cotuit Cavaliers pitchers.
1-2, fastball misses away. For a minute, Adams thought he was walking off the mound with a strikeout, but that one well off the plate. Count runs even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. We're hoping the forecast clears up from what it at least says for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, we look like we're in good shape at Hyannis as 2-2 Burns sends it back. On Wednesday, it's a little more questionable when we go to Falmouth. Thursday is a wash of an off day. 100% chance of rain here in the Boston and Cape area. And then on Friday, a 45-50% chance. And we're hoping that the rain doesn't wash out Doran, and we're hoping that Friday stays drier than anticipated, because the weather over the course of the past week has been perfect.
Mm-hmm. Even tonight, it's just a stunning night for baseball. Perfect temperature.
And Peter Burns is going to loft a single into right center field. Outstretch the dive of Eric Brown, who gets up and appears to be okay. Thank goodness for that. Peter Burns with a 2-out single.
First base knock of the night. He breaks the offensive ice. The Boston College kid gets on the board, and we're at the top of the lineup. Joe Lampe, who's been hitting it hard all night. We saw that fly ball in his first appearance that just missed fair territory out by Froggy's pole. Could we see a home run from him tonight, or even just within the next few games of the season?
I know he's been trying to. He tried to send one over to Froggy's earlier today. As you mentioned, Lampe takes a strike. Well, I was talking about it with Will. Daniel, I know we talked extensively about it last night. We talked about this being a statement game, and whichever team won this game, the momentum that they would carry over into Friday's game. Well, the Braves have early dibs on that as Lampe swings and misses. That ball gets off the glove and below Suggs. He finds it before Burns can advance. 0-2.
Yeah, and it is a statement game. The Braves, by just bouncing out to an 8-1 lead, show that they might have had a bit of a slide in the last 10 games, but they still have the firepower within them to put up outings like this that we're seeing here tonight.
Lampe rolls over to first. Martorella Fields has to try to beat Lampe to the bag and does by about a step. Braves get one in the bottom half of the 5th inning. A Christian Knapcheck walk, and later on a Colby Thomas sac fly, and the Braves lead it by 7. Back up in the broadcast booth, Reeves Jackson, now joined by our beat reporter and beat writer Nick Galley. Nick, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing, Reeves. I'm doing really good. I mean, this is the game, man.
This is awesome.
I mean, last night was really hard, obviously, to watch. It's just one of those games that, much like the Cotuit game, what was that, last Tuesday now,
Yeah.
I think? One of those games that just drags on, and you know, you just kind of feel that vibe of
Even last night.
Yeah, of the team just wants it to be over, and everyone else wants it to be over, and you know, you have nights like those, have nights like these, man.
Nights
So,
like these where you don't want it to end.
no, I mean,
This
this
is
is
fantastic.
this is everything you wanted to see from this Bourne team.
Talk about the performance of Matt Jacek
Oh,
tonight, who you can't see it on your camera at home, but he's out for his 6th inning.
I mean, I gotta buy this guy a cheeseburger or something. I mean, welcome to Bourne.
Is he 21?
Well, I mean, 6-pack or something. Well, I'll welcome him to Bourne with some Sam Adams, or I know Daniel's been helping you get used
Hey,
to the.
my favorite beer out here,
Uh-huh.
I'm 22 for those wondering at home. My favorite beer, Sam Summer, hands down. The best beer.
I'm telling you, I'm 21 as well. So we've been getting Reeves on the kick out here. But, I mean, this guy's just outstanding. And obviously he had summer ball experience. I know Calvin and I talked about the Hampton League.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hey,
so-
I mean, I'll let you finish, but obviously allowing Jacek to go the 6th inning means obviously he's thrown deep into games at the Hamptons
I
League.
mean, this is a nasty addition. And I can't say I expected this, you
No.
know, because you get out here on the Cape, it's so much different. There's a lot of expectations, a lot of pressure, no matter who you are, no matter what your history is. But, I mean, Jacek's just been outstanding. It looks like he's been pitching out here for the entire summer.
And he's been uber impressive to watch. He's got the 2, 3, and 4 hitters, Trice Ritter and Eric Brown.
I mean, this is just, it's been fun to watch. And, I mean, first inning, first batter gives up an infield single. And you're thinking, you're kind of having flashbacks to last night a little bit.
Well, just
You know?
because obviously, that's it. Daniel and I kind of gave each other a look after that, like,
Here we go
here we go again.
Yeah.
Like, not these dinky singles that run the Braves out of innings. Pop up first base side. How about Dalton Rushing scaling the elevated fence over there? That one well into the crowd foul.
But yeah, you have flashbacks of last night, and you're thinking, oh, excuse me, the excitement. The excitement's crazy. You have flashbacks of last night, and you're thinking, oh, it's happening again. Rinky-dink singles. And, you know, you got a guy making his debut, gives up a hit like that to start off his outing. You think, how could this possibly go? And then what's he do next pitch? Or not next pitch, but next batter. Double play.
Yeah.
You know, you needed that. You needed
Absolutely. 5-4-3 double play. And I remember telling Daniel on the call, I was like, well, it's Cotuit's worst nightmare coming back to haunt them. They bounced into 3 of those double plays
Yeah.
when they faced the Braves, although in a Cotuit 11-run win.
Yeah, they did fine in the end.
Yeah, they did fine in the end, but obviously Bourne, a team that really hasn't turned many double
No,
plays
they
all
haven't.
season, has found that stroke of luck from the pitchers over the course of the final few games. And catch me if I'm wrong here. I believe you and Calvin were saying this was arguably the biggest game of the season to this point.
I think
and
that
Calvin
without a doubt,
disagreed.
yeah, Calvin disagreed. I think this.
I'm on your side. here.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Put this man in a casino at a blackjack table because he's dealing, baby. This is insane. I've never seen it. Well, we have seen this. You know, Gordon Graceffo, Nick Swack. We've seen great outings. Peter Van Loon,
Parsley, Sansone.
Parsley, Sansone. I mean,
There's
the list
many.
goes on. But my goodness, in his debut, Reeves, in his debut,
It is
it's fun to watch.
phenomenal. And I don't know if maybe we've had one. Nick, you might know this better than me. You're the stat master. How many Braves pitchers have we had go 6 innings this year? It
This
can't
is-
be many.
This
or-
is the first.
Oh, okay. This
I
might be.
believe, yeah.
That's
We've
what I
had
was
guys
thinking.
go 5, but this is the first.
I was thinking it was the first. 1-0 count here to Ryan Ritter. That's a strike and a half. Didn't agree with the call, but a good pitch there from Jacek. Jacek, who in the Missouri Valley Conference, a 4.58 ERA, but didn't have a large sample size. 17 and 2/3 innings for the Larry Bird alum right-hander of Indiana State.
So that's one way to word
That's
it.
why I just disregard that.
Yeah, no, I will. I don't you worry. But I mean, no, this is just incredible. And yeah, going back to me and Calvin's little, argument, I guess, on if this was the biggest game of the year. I think without a doubt, up to date, this is the biggest game of the year. And he thought otherwise, but we agreed to disagree. Well, what do you think?
I was going to say I was leading into the thought before that strikeout that I agree with you.
Yes,
and the
thank
reason
you,
for that
Reeves.
is because
look at this. We're finding some middle ground here.
right. This is crazy. We've never agreed. This
No, this is the first
this is
time.
kind of nice.
This is history.
First 2-2 from Jacek. This one softly lofted into left field. Over goes jump. That's going to land fair. Ritter heading to second. And his hot hitting of late continues. He extends the 9-game hit streak to 10 with a double to left field with 1 out. But my point I was going to make to you about why this, up to the point in the season, is the biggest game for the Braves is because all season long, Nick, they haven't had competition in the division. And obviously they've locked up the number 1 seed. But right now, this game means more than any other game has had this season because the Braves have been up so far in the standings that this is the team you're likely going to see in the first round of the playoffs. This is a statement game, especially for a team that beat you by 11 runs. If Cotuit comes out and whoops you today, I don't like our chances Friday.
No,
but
they're very bad.
This one lifted to right field. There's Colby Thomas.
No,
Camps under it, makes the
try
catch.
tagging. Try tagging on Colby Thomas.
Ritter heading to third.
Oh, just missed.
Oh,
just a little bit to Max
my
Anderson's
goodness.
right there.
If that throws on the money, Ryan Ritter's taken care of. But he'll advance to third on the fly ball to right. I was thinking the same thing in my head. Try Colby Thomas out there.
I mean, yeah, it's been crazy. You know, the psychological advantage that this game holds is, I mean, you can't even put it into words, really, because you lose by 11 to this Cotuit team and then come out and lose tonight. I don't care how much it's by. If it's by a blowout, yeah, that's terrible. But if it's like a 4-3 heartbreaker, you're going into playoffs facing this team in trouble.
A 2-out bunt right there by Noah Bridges.
I mean, go for it.
And
I mean, okay, all right.
Matt Jacek threw 6 innings. We believe the first Braves pitcher that has thrown 6 complete this half inning. Matt Jacek is rolling.
Put this man on ice. He's hot. He's hot.
Back up in here in the Braves broadcast booth. And Calvin, we're going to send it down to you right now. Just talk about the Cotuit Kettleers playoff chances. Obviously, with a win today and with a Falmouth loss, either of those scenarios, Cotuit would clinch the playoff spot with their magic number just being 1. But there's still a scenario in which Cotuit could not make the playoffs, in which Falmouth would. So we'll send it down to you, Calvin, to explain all the scenarios for the Cotuit Kettleers.
Well, Reeves, we know the Braves have already clinched the number 1 seed in the West Division. They'll have home field throughout the postseason. But Cotuit on the other side tonight is playing for a lot more. The Kettleers right now coming into tonight's play 5 points ahead of Falmouth, who sits in 3rd place. And Cotuit can actually clinch a playoff spot tonight. That's going to take a lot, though, because they're going to need to come back in this game. And they also need a Falmouth Commodores loss. They're trailing Wareham 2-0 out at Splain Field right now. If the Kettleers do not win this game, they need to win 1 of their last 2 games in the regular season, and Falmouth has to lose 1 of their last 3 games in the regular season. But regardless of who the Braves play in round number 1, it'll be right here at Doran Park on Friday night.
Can you run through that playoff scenario?
Bottom of the 6th inning, Max Anderson up for the Bravos. The Braves having 2, 3, and 4 here against Logan Adams, who watches a breaking ball miss outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Obviously, a great report from Calvin down there, who talked about what Cotuit needs to go right for them and what Falmouth needs to go right for them. A lot more needs to go right for the Commodores for them to get into the postseason rather than the Cotuit Kettleers. Falmouth, the only road for them to get into the playoffs, as Calvin just explained to you. We'll explain it again here. We'll kind of talk about this. They need to win out, and the Kettleers need to lose out. If you're Falmouth right now, you're looking at the out-of-town scoreboard, and you're saying, okay, well, step 1 of a long step is being taken care of at the moment. But the Braves leading this game 8-1. Falmouth has to take care of business on their end, which is a road contest at Wareham in which they're already trailing 2-0. So they would need to come back and win that game to even have a chance. If they lose tonight, Cotuit's in. And still, a lot of things need to happen. Cotuit needs to lose their final 2 games to YD, and Falmouth needs to beat Wareham tomorrow, a home and home, and then beat the Bourne Braves on Wednesday. Anderson swings and misses for strike 3.
Yeah, a lot has to go right for the Falmouth Commodores. If I had to guess, I would say the Cotuit Kettleers would be the team that we're going to face, and this is a preview of that. There's going to be a new pitcher coming in as Roberts comes out to make the change, but if this is the team that we're going to face in the first round of the West Division, we've put up one heck of a tone setter here tonight. Hopefully we can hold this, but a new pitcher coming in for Cotuit.
Cotuit will make the call to the bullpen as the Braves lead at 8-1. Left-handed hurler Riley Hughes takes over for the Cotuit Cavaliers. Here in the bottom of the sixth, one down as Adams took care of the righty Anderson. They turn to the lefty Hughes to get the lefty Dalton Rushing and the right-hander Tanner Schobel. It is 8-1 Braves. Home sixth. The cotton candy skies out in center field on a picturesque night from Bourne Park. You see that on the right side of the screen. Blue skies other than that. In one of the most gorgeous afternoons we have had at Bourne Park. You started the season versus the Hyannis Harbor Hawks with beautiful weather, and bookend that with the weather we've had tonight. In the middle, there was some questionable nights with the rain, but you start the season, end the season the same way. But just a little more offense for the Braves here tonight than that opener against the Harbor Hawks. A lot of memories to look back on here at Bourne Park in the 2021 summer season. Regardless of how the Braves finish this season, they will finish with the best record in team history. And they're looking for the first time in program history to finish the season with single-digit losses. All they have to do is win 2 of their final 3 games, and they're looking good here tonight to do that.
Against Riley Hughes from the College of Central Florida, he's really struggled for the Cotuit Cavaliers, coming in with a 16.61 ERA. 4 1/3 innings pitched and 8 runs given up, and got to imagine Roberts is giving this guy another try with an 8-1 deficit. And Dalton Rushing getting on top of Hughes to start.
Number 27, Tanner Schobel.
Here's Tanner Schobel. He got the scoring off early with an RBI double down the left field line. And the Braves broke out to an early lead. Cotuit tied the game, but the Braves exploded for 5 in the 4th after a Max Anderson homer in the 3rd as Schobel watches that one miss away. The only scoreless frame so far for Bourne was in the 2nd. He scored 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 3rd, 5 in the 4th, and 1 in the 5th. And a runner on at first with 1 down, trying to score here again, this time off of Riley Huge. As you mentioned, from Central Florida, Schobel skies this one a mile high in the infield, the shortstop Ritter. A piece of cake for him, 2 away.
Schobel continuing his hot streak. He's 2 for 4. He had a double RBI in the 1st and a base knock in the 4th. One of many that came in the bottom of the 4th. How about Hunter Jump? Still looking for a base hit, but he had a run back in the 4th off a walk, and these guys, along with Jump and Huber, seem comfortable down here on the Cape.
And he's been hitting the ball very hard, too.
That one well in the dirt. But if Cotuit is the team that we are going to face, I mean, what a statement to put out that not only are we the best in the division, but we can prove it, especially after that, what I would say would be a demoralizing or embarrassing loss at Lowell Park just a few days ago.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, I want to ask your opinion on this. So Nick and Calvin were talking, I was just talking about this with Nick last half inning, that Nick was arguing this is the most important game of the season up until this point. All the games we've had, most important game, this one tonight. Meanwhile, Calvin disagreed. I want to hear your opinion on that. Do you agree with Nick or do you agree with Calvin? Most important game of the season that we have had yet.
I don't know if it's our most important game. It's definitely one of them because it's going to springboard us into the playoff.
Hunter Jump, liner to second right there towards Eric Brown. We'll discuss that a little more when we head to the 7th inning when Daniel Coates takes over on the call. But right now it's the Braves 8 and the Kettleers 1.
Xavier Lovett from Mississippi State now going to Texas A&M to take over for one impressive day from Jay Chak from Indiana State, making one heck of a first impression here at Dorn Park. It is 8-1 against our rivals, the Cotuit Cavaliers. The Braves lead.
How about Matt Jacek? The only Braves pitcher to go 6 innings this season, and it's the guy who makes his first appearance of the night, the first appearance of the season.
Really impressive stuff, especially in the first game started.
Appears we're going to have a pinch hitter here for Brett Roberts. We'll try to get you that. Number 12, we'll bring that up real quick. It is going to be Trent Jeffcoat, who is pinch hitting for Brett Roberts here in the 7th inning.
From Tallahassee Community College. Looks like this is his first at-bat for the Cotuit Cavaliers. 0-1. Two typical Xavier Lovett fastballs that sit in the mid-90s. He has really made a name for himself down here on the Cape. Him and Eric Adler have been the closers, maybe that 8-9 inning closers, who have really worked well together as a 1-2 punch. I'm not sure if we'll see Eric Adler tonight just because of the situation in this game, 8-1. But I wouldn't mind seeing Xavier Lovett go a couple of innings as he gets Jeffcoat down with a breaking ball, swing and a miss.
Great pitch from Xavier, who obviously we know what the guy they call X has done for most of the season. He has struggled a little bit of late. Xavier, who gave up 4 earned runs in the outing against Orleans and gave up a run against Falmouth, 2 runs against the Commodores on July 19th, and then 1 against Falmouth on July 21st. So 7 earned runs in his last 3 outings combined for Xavier Lovett. So looking to bounce back with a scoreless outing tonight against the Cavaliers offense that has been pretty quiet for the most part.
And Nathan Martorella up for the 3rd time today. He had a base knock in the 3rd. He also scored off a stolen base. 1-0. Now 1-1. That fastball whizzing by the bat of Martorella. When I was behind the microphone for PA, I actually called him Cal Berkeley. He's from Cal Berkeley, but Cal Berkeley would be one heck of a name. That's a cool sounding name, Cal Berkeley.
I joked with you after that you didn't say this, but on the public address, now batting from Nathan Martorella, Cal Berkeley. That was so funny.
There's a lot of pressure, a lot of buttons, and I prefer to be here with you with the headsets on.
It's a little more laxed out here.
It's
It's
a
fun.
little more lax. You know what you're getting yourself into. 1-2. Now 2-2. That fastball getting away from Xavier Lovett. As far as this game is concerned, as far as significance in particular, I have to say I don't think that this is the biggest game of the season, Reeves, but it's up there. I mean, as far as momentum moving into the playoffs, it most certainly is, but I think the games that have gotten us to that one spot that have allowed us to clinch the top spot in the West Division, somewhere in there, I think is one of the bigger games. I'm trying to think back over the season. Of course, a lot of it's blending together, but I don't think that this game means the most. And, of course, the playoffs will obviously pose that situation.
I disagreed with that sentiment, which was Calvin's sentiment. I agreed with Nick. Here's why. There were a lot of big games early on in the season, but the Braves built themselves such a big lead in the division that they never really had anything to worry about. They were going to be in the playoffs regardless. They were likely going to get the 1 seed regardless, even when they started to play, not 8-0 baseball. They were starting to get beat a little bit and had a few ties in between, and teams were starting to figure them out a little more, which happens in any regular season with a team that starts off the season as hot as Bourne did. But my reason for them in this game being the most important, as Martorella goes down to first on a base on balls, is because with the Braves having taken command of the division so early on in the season, over halfway into the year, and then locking up the 1 seed with about 12, 13 games remaining, I think this is the biggest game of the season for the sheer reason of if you don't win tonight, I don't like our chances on Friday. Even if it's partially pitching, just momentum in any sport, especially baseball, is a huge factor. So I think for the playoffs and for playoff purposes, tonight's win, if we can secure it, is huge for the Braves.
And, you know, the more that I think about it, I think I'm turning more towards that this might be the biggest game because you're right. It's a springboard for us to move into the playoffs. And are we going to be afraid of going to Lowell Park? Are we going to be afraid of this Cotuit Cavaliers team that seems to have had our number in a season that a lot of people haven't been able to get us? As a double play coming, he's got him. The 6-4-3 double play. That's going to end the inning. Matthew Suggs grounds out into a double play. Xavier Lovett coming in, finishing off this inning. The Braves will be batting just after this break.
Texas Rio Grande, number 27, Raul Ortega.
Huge is still the pitcher for the Cotuit Cavaliers, facing Christian Knapczyk, again leading off this inning. And what I think is a brilliant move by Harvey Shapiro, and I would not be surprised that we're going to see this type of lineup in our first game that will most likely be against Cotuit. Huge starts him off with the breaking ball, 0-1.
I want to give a big shout out to Patricia Jacek, Matt Jacek's grandmother, who is on the Bourne Braves live stream tonight. And just a big congratulations to her and her grandson for an incredible performance tonight. And also to Austin Parsley's mother, who is watching the live stream. We're excited to hopefully see Austin get the start on Friday in our first postseason game, and we're excited to have everyone out of the ballpark. So big shout out to those two for tuning in tonight, and well, they're enjoying a big Braves 8-1 lead right now.
Well, we always enjoy interacting with parents and fans and grandparents, all who support this Bourne Braves team in what has been a special season all around, and to be able to meet them when they come up to the Cape at times. 2-1, taken up the middle, fielded cleanly at short. Knapczyk down with the ground ball to short. Ritter finishes him off.
And didn't know this when Ryan Ritter committed that error earlier, and it just seems, you know, fairly normal for a shortstop to commit more errors just because they're going to have the most chances of any player on the field. But Ryan Ritter, for as sure-handed as he is, Daniel, that was his 8th error of the season, which is tied for third most. I mentioned that when Will was on, tied for third most in the Cape this summer.
First pitch a bit too low to Ben Huber. He added to the onslaught offensively in the 4th inning with a base knock and a run scored. Now up 2-0. Huber, 3 for 11 down here on the Cape thus far. Now up 3-0. Huge with his 19th pitch coming. 8-1. in the bottom of the 7th and a packed crowd here at Doran. Hughes has finally found the strike zone, 3-1.
Yeah, packed crowd. Look behind us. You got the sun setting.
An opportunity to get to win number 24. Hard hit back to Ritter again. Another what might be an error, but Huber gets on base.
Yeah, interesting to see how that one's going to be scored. That was a hard hit ball ranging up the middle. It's a play, though, Ritter usually makes. Not sure if he lost his footing. I think it'll go as a base hit for Huber, but it will.
And that will be Huber's 4th hit down here on the Cape. A tough play for Ritter. It bounced off his left shoulder and on a funky hop. Colby Thomas to the plate looking for his 2nd hit of the day.
Yeah, 1 for 2 is Colby. They had the single. Flew out to, lined out to center and had the sac fly. So no official at bat, but the RBI.
A bit too high, 1-0. Huber on first, 8-1. A statement lead at the moment against the Cotuit Kettleers, who we might be seeing back here on Friday night. In the first round of the West Division, a lot has to go right for the Falmouth Commodores, and a lot has to go wrong for the Cotuit Kettleers in order for that to change. But we're expecting most likely the Cotuit Kettleers on Friday night if they clinch the 2 spot. 1-1. Two and one under the lights here at Bourne, Doran Park. As you mentioned, Reeves, feels like we were just back here for the home opener where I think we might have seen a bit of a smaller crowd, and we might have seen a bigger crowd here tonight now.
Yeah, we broke the opening day record for attendance at Doran that afternoon, in which everyone was just excited to get back to the ballpark after the summer that was in 2020. And tonight, even bigger crowd, we suspect, and can't wait for Friday, and in which a postseason that has been formatted where only 2 teams make it instead of the usual 4 due to this unprecedented season after the year of 2020 we had.
3-1, Colby Thomas with his 2nd base knock of the night. Huber advances to 2nd. Colby Thomas puts on the brake at 1st, and Peter Burns at the 9th spot. Now up with 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. The Braves looking to add a few more on top of this 7-run lead.
Well, looks like it may end up being the Cotuit Kettleers in round 1. Although we're winning tonight, Wareham beating Falmouth 6-0 in the 6th inning. And if the Commodores go down to Wareham tonight, it will be the Cotuit Kettleers who would clinch that 2nd playoff spot and make it Bourne and Cotuit on Friday.
1-0 to Peter Burns.
Yeah, Pete had that nice single his last time. Just got it over the head of Eric Brown. Now 1 for 3 on the day, so love Pete defensively. Had a great throw and a runner that Martorella just got in ahead of the throw, but it was a strong throw by Pete. And offensively, does just enough, especially on the right times.
2-0 to Peter Burns. Top of the order on deck, Joe Lampy. And as exciting as it is to think about how big the crowd will be for the playoffs at Lowell Park, we know that they can really pack that place if it is Cotuit. We're also expecting a couple thousand people here at Doran Park on Friday night, and what a sight that would be. And it just shows how important the success of the Bourne Braves means to this community. And the Cotuit Kettleers travel well, we know that. And that's another reason why we're excited about a potential playoff series with the Cotuit Kettleers. 3-1. Even tonight, there's a decent amount of Kettleers fans on the right side by the Kettleers dugout. 3-1, 1 out. Peter Burns takes one to left. Right there is Gale for out number 2.
Now batting, the center fielder from Arizona State, number 4.
Good piece of hitting, though, by Peter Burns. Just doesn't drop a bit too far, and Gale tracked that flare all the way in. Joe Lampy with men on 1st and 2nd. 10 hits for the Braves, only 5 today for the Cotuit Kettleers, who in the last 5 games have scored 55 runs. That is not the case tonight. 8-1 as Lampy takes that high and inside. 1-0. As Reeves mentioned, Wareham on top of the Falmouth Commodores 6-0. A loss from Falmouth would ensure the number 2 spot to the Cotuit Kettleers here tonight. 2-0. Looks to be a dominant performance so far from the Gatemen. Other news, as we mentioned, a quick game as the Brewster Whitecaps took care of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 4-0. 2-0 to Lampy. 2-1. Joe Lampy 0 for 2. Came into this game with 10 RBIs. Now has 11 with a sacrifice fly in the 4th. That one looks like it might have hit his helmet, and it did. He'll trot down to first. He looks okay. It was a breaking ball from Huge. I wonder if we'll see a change here from Roberts, but Max Anderson, who homered for the 2nd time in the last 2 games. Once last night against the Wareham Gatemen, a 3-run shot. One in the 3rd that gave the Braves a lead 2-1. That was a solo shot in the same spot as yesterday. Men on all bases. Swing and a miss. Good pitch from Huge. Dropped right off the table.
Yeah, Max Anderson, who, as you mentioned, back-to-back homers in back-to-back games. And now big opportunity with the bases loaded here against Huge.
Behind early. Anderson facing an 0-2 to Huge. Bases loaded, and although potentially not a consequential out, again, another opportunity with bases loaded for the Braves to capitalize on. 1-2. Anderson 1 for 3, 2 strikeouts, a home run in the 3rd, and a walk in the 4th. A 4th that produced 5 runs for the Braves. Chopper to Ritter. The scoop. He can't handle the transition. Scoring will be Ben Huber. 9-1. The Braves add on to their lead.
Yeah, should be scored, I'd imagine, an E6 by Ryan Ritter. We'll see how Bob, our official score, scores that in the broadcast press box. Yeah, E6. I think that's a good call.
We do have to give Bob a shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. Big time shout out.
For his last game here as the scorer, or for the last season that he'll be the scorer here. And he was given a bat. Just the work that he's done day in and day out.
Yeah, Bob.
For his team and for this organization.
Yeah, Bob retiring, and well deserved for him. And as you mentioned, got the entire team to sign a wood bat and gifted that to Bob, and just incredible. The person he is, and obviously all of the information that he has given us day in and day out to help us with the broadcast. Could not do it without him.
1-1 to rushing. Still a bases loaded situation. Colby Thomas leading the way at 3rd. 1-2. Protecting home. Bases loaded, 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. The Braves have tacked on 1. Can they tack on another? 2-2. A 9-1 game against the Cotuit Kettleers, who we fell to by double digits the last time we traveled to Lowell Park and the last time we saw them. An opportunity for Rushing to add more. Broken bat over to first. It bounces off Martorella. Colby Thomas will score, and Dalton Rushing will make it safely to first. The Cotuit Cavaliers can't catch a break, and the Braves make it to double digits.
How about that? Braves just getting it done in every way possible tonight. Doesn't go right for Cotuit again, but the Braves get another run. Now 10 for them tonight. You saw Wareham have 10 by the 5th inning yesterday. The Braves getting double digits on their end tonight. Really cannot describe how important this offensive outburst is by the Braves tonight. This is going to do wonders for them moving forward, I truly believe.
A mound visit from Ortega, who's coming in for Suggs. An interesting move by Roberts to switch up the man behind the plate. 2 outs, still the bases are loaded. Tanner Schobel now up. This is his 5th appearance to the batter's box this evening in what has been quite an offensive performance from the Braves. 10-1. Huge remains on the mound and unable to bounce back from a tough couple of outings with the Cotuit Cavaliers. He came into this with a 4 1/3 inning pitched, 8 runs given up, and about a 16 ERA, and he's not helping his case right now.
No, not at all. Obviously wasn't helped out by the Ritter error. His second of the game over at short. Not a great night for Ryan Ritter. Well, hopefully our bats after this game are just as alive as Bourne's offensively tonight. We have intern batting practice that we all get to partake in after the conclusion of tonight's game, and we're excited for that.
We've been practicing all summer for this moment. I'm not really sure what we're going to be seeing, Reeves. It could be awesome or it could be terrible. It's not going to be anywhere in the middle.
I have a feeling the latter.
I think it might be. 3-0. Even our PA announcer, Will Henschel, said he was going to try and drive one into straightaway center. Not sure how that would work out for him. I don't think anyone's capable of touching that center, and that's going to be a 4-pitch walk. Tanner Schobel trotting down to first, and scoring will be Joe Lampe. In a lackluster performance from Huge, his day might be done. Mike Roberts coming out. It's 11-1, a double-digit lead at Dorn Park.
Wake Forest, number 15, Lucas Costello.
Lucas Costello from Wake Forest, the first to pace Deo, I should say, the new pitcher for the Cotuit Kettleers. Costello with his first appearance to the plate. A sidearm delivery for strike one.
Yeah, Cotuit has had a few pitchers from down under this season. Deo, another one, as you mentioned, from southern New Hampshire.
1-1 to Costello. I like this move by Harvey Shapiro, especially with bases loaded, a 10-run lead. Put Costello in, see what he can do, see if he can get his footing a bit firmer moving into the playoffs. 1-1, as you mentioned, Reeves, we're playing Hyannis tomorrow, and then Falmouth at Gov Fuller to end the season. Now 3-1. Now 3-1, 3-1 count to Costello with 2 outs. Another opportunity to score one with a base on balls.
Yeah, Deo on the year, 12.27 ERA, 5 walks in 3 2/3 innings. Another guy that has struggled with his command.
Oh, and they called the strike as Costello threw the bat away. A full count payoff pitch. An opportunity to strand 3. Tanner Schobel stands atop of first base. In front of him, Dalton rushing. At third is Max Anderson. The top of the lineup has had quite a day. 11 runs scored. Costello calls time. Deo with his first batter faced being a pinch hitter. Knapczyk on deck. Full count. Taken high into shallow right. Going over the second baseman. The dive, and Brown snags it. Laying out and finishing the bottom of the 7th. Great play defensively by the Kettleers. They trail by 10 going to the top of the 8th. The left fielder, William Gale, at the plate, facing Xavier Lovett for the second time he's appeared in this game. Xavier Lovett had an impressive inning back in the top of the 7th, and I am joined here by Nick Galley, who
yes, sir,
is fired up.
Dude, I've been fired up all night, man.
What looks to be a collision course for the 4th victory for the Bourne Braves.
I mean, this is just gorgeous. It keeps getting better. Shout out to Eric Brown, though. I mean, that was a fantastic catch that we just saw.
Oh, my gosh, yes. Moving to his left towards the right field foul line. Snagging that. That was an incredible catch.
Yeah, that was nuts.
I think Costello almost got robbed for a base hit.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame for Cotuit that catch didn't count for 10 runs. But if it did, they'd be right back in this.
A 3-0 count. Xavier Lovett down early, but especially coming after the performance that we had at Lowell Park.
It was terrible.
Which was terrible.
Oh,
We
it was
lost
horrible.
by double digits. This is one heck of a statement saying, as bad as you can beat us, we can beat you, and it looks like we're going to win the season series against them 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, that was a bad game. I was just going to say, William Gale at the plate. I mean, he's 1L off from my last name. I mean, he's pretty close here. Gale.
Very close.
Very close. Speaking of 1L, I think Cotuit's got one coming to him tonight. If I had to be brutally honest
that's
there.
a good one.
I know, I mean.
Wow.
Anyway.
Wow.
No, yeah, but at Lowell Park.
No, that was good.
That was a really good one. I'm telling you, when I get in these good moods, Daniel, I'm on my bet. I'm on my game.
Oh, yeah. Well, now with a man on first, Xavier Lovett, let's talk a little bit about him. He's going to be a huge part of this playoff push. I think we're going to see him in a setup potentially for Eric Adler. I'm not sure if we're going to see that tonight, bringing in Adler in a 10-run game.
No, there's no way.
No way.
If I'm Harvey Shapiro, I'm bringing in, I know Kelsey Ward pitched recently against Wareham, but he only threw 2/3. I'd bring in a guy like him. You know, he got, kind of roughed up in Orleans, could use a confidence booster. I'm looking to bring in a guy who could use a confidence booster.
Yeah.
Well,
what do you think about Xavier Lovett going 2 innings? He's usually just seen to be getting out of a jam. That's going to drop foul just in front of the Braves dugout.
I like it. Why not? He's a guy that had been roughed up a little bit as of late. We know he is a very talented pitcher. We've seen him look good in multiple appearances out of the bullpen this year. He kind of was a setup guy for a while for Eric Adler. And, then guys were getting to him a little bit, got a little beat up, a little roughed up. But tonight, you throw him out there for 2 innings, get a good, solid 2 innings under his belt, so then you have that old Xavier Lovett back for playoffs. I like that a lot. And I'm sure Harvey Shapiro does, too.
Inside, 2-1. Looks like this is Figueroa, pinch hitter now.
Oh, yeah, for Grady.
Coming in for Jace Grady at the top of the lineup. At first is William Gale, 1L away from Galley.
You betcha.
As Nick mentioned. That one fouled, now knotted up at 2-2. And Nick, we have intern batting practice after this game. Should be interesting. I told Reeves that it's either going to be absolutely terrible or great. There's really no in between.
I brought a change of pants because,
no kidding.
Well, I have these khaki pants on now, so I want to be as mobile as possible. So I got the athletic shorts in a bag under the table in the press box.
2-2 fouled.
New shoes I brought because I got my boat shoes on right now that I bought like 5 years ago. So these suck. I'm not even gonna lie, these suck. These had plenty of wear and tear. But I got my shoes with me that are real good for. I mean, they're not cleats. I should have brought cleats, but I'm feeling like I'm gonna, no home run. I'm not saying I'm gonna hit a home run, but I'm talking some gap shots right now.
Well, if you had a good amount of wind, that breaking ball just missing on Figueroa. If you had a good amount of wind going out to right field down that line, 300 and
I could
good
potentially
swing.
But see, that's oppo. That's are you a righty or are you a lefty?
I'm a righty.
Okay, so am I. So that's oppo for us. We'd have to let the ball travel.
Full count, and Figueroa makes it onto first, pushing William Gale to second. Peter Burns wants to come out, have a word with his pitcher here, who isn't necessarily used to going over that 1 inning mark, and Eddie Marco coming out. Might he be making a change? There is action.
Yeah, it looks like Bryson Cafaro out there.
What do you think of that?
I like it. Why not? When was the last time we saw Cafaro? I think it was probably that Cotuit game, right?
I believe it was. It was Cotuit, and when we sent out really a roster full of pitchers.
Yeah.
In that effort we had at Lowell Park. However, the one outing that sticks with me about Cafaro was him finishing out, I believe it was a 2-1 game
Chatham, the
at
Chatham. Game. Yeah.
Coming in, added from Fairfield, along with Michael Sansone.
Sansone, fun fact. He was born November 10th, 99, right?
Same day as you?
No, I was born the 8th, 99. So I got 2 days on Sansone.
Have you told him that?
I did. I was talking to him today. I was like, I got 2 days on you.
You're so wise. Those 2 days have really made the difference.
It did, yeah. But as you were saying about Cafaro and Sansone, the Fairfield pair right here.
Well, big swing from Carter Trice.
So what stuck out to you about that Cafaro save?
I just think to
what were you liking?
I think to have a situation against a Chatham team who we didn't really have success with as far as or compared to other teams that we have, another swing and a miss. I think I would say just the ability in front of a big crowd that we had there at Veterans Field on Military Appreciation Night, and I believe that was his first outing.
I don't think it was.
Maybe the second?
It was like second or third.
Yeah. Well, Cafaro, I mean, the poise that he had, it was an early outing from him. But for him to come out and with only a one-run cushion and perform is pretty special. I think he's a good guy to have in your bullpen when we move into the playoffs so that we don't have to necessarily always rely on Adler or, God forbid, anything were to happen. We have an opportunity for a guy like Cafaro to come in, and he has experience closing out close games.
Yeah, Adler, I mean, he's obviously been outstanding, but as you were saying, what if something does happen to him? You know, injury or, you know, we know in this league, you know, guys might shut themselves down, college coaches might shut themselves down. I don't think that's going to happen with Adler because, I don't know if you knew this, but in a group chat, team group chat before the season started, Eric Adler texted everyone and said, you know, if we're going to go out on the Cape this summer, we might as well win the whole thing. So Eric Adler's in this for the long run. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, say Wake Forest said, hey, you know, you're done for the summer. At this point, I don't think that would happen.
Trice goes down swinging for out number 2. And as you mentioned, out number 1, I should say. And as you mentioned, Nick, Nicole actually, who came on about a week ago, that was the game against Harwich. And she actually mentioned that and how Eric Adler was really the guy who fired up
he's out here for the long run. He's out here for the long run. Yeah, I don't think, personally, I don't think any guy is going to get shut down by any coaches at this point. You know, you have, 3 games left in the regular season? What is this, game 35 tonight, right? I believe so. I want to say that we have 2 more after this. Yeah, so including night 3.
Including tonight 3.
Yeah. So, you know, 2 innings and change and, what is it, top 8? Yeah, so 1.5 innings and change and then 2 games left. So, playoffs, yeah, I don't think anyone's getting shut down at this point. But, yeah, I mean, you want to have the back of your bullpen. You need that to be solid. You want to have a solid setup guy. Between Xavier Lovett, Bryson Cafaro, I could see being a back half of the bullpen guy. Eric Adler, obviously the closer. You know, we even saw it earlier in the year, Tristan Vreeling, a back-end guy, who we thought would be gone by now. We thought he was out of here July 30th, but he stayed. So I don't know if we're going to see him in a starting capacity, because I know Harvey Shapiro did mention to me he wasn't feeling all that great a few weeks back, but's feeling good now.
Out number 2, Xavier Lovett. Sizzles one by Ritter, who's 1 for 4 on the night.
But's feeling good now. But I don't know if we're going to see Vreeling in a starting capacity again. Just because wear and tear on the arm or whatnot. We'll probably see him shorter stints, an inning or 2 here and there. Maybe
or even maybe to get out of a jam.
Exactly. You know, a situational guy, essentially. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this pitching staff is handled as a whole. I'm sure Eddie Markov's going to have quite a say in that as well. You know, he's done a fantastic job with his pitching staff all year. But, you know, someone's going to have to fill in for the role that Dylan Bowers had, too. I mean, he was a guy that looked better in every appearance that he had. I hadn't really realized it, but I look at his stats by the end of his tenure in Bourne, they were fantastic.
Well, Gale and Figueroa both advance after a bit of a wild pitch from Xavier Lovett, 2 men in scoring position. And as you were mentioning, you know, Tristan Vreeling was a guy who had both starts against the YD Red Sox, was showing really good stuff for the Gonzaga Bulldog, and he moved from the relief position to the starter. That was after we lost Nick Zawak and Gordon Graceffo.
Van
Loon, a lot of guys to the draft. 2-0 to Brown, but Vreeling is an interesting case because we thought he was going to leave.
Yep.
We kind of prepared for a playoff push without him, and now looking at Jake Bennett and even Jacek tonight, could he fit in that starting role?
So this is where I think you move Sansone back to the bullpen, as hard as it is. But I think the reason being is guys are going to be prepared now for Sansone. I think the first time you face Sansone, the first couple times you face Sansone, you're really off balance because you have that changeup. We know his velo isn't, one of the higher ones in the league. He sits, mid to high 80s with the fastball, 87 to like 89, I think is what he tops out at. Hasn't clipped 90 just yet. So doesn't have a ton of velo on the fastball. Changeup is really what keeps guys off balance with him. If you can game plan for that, teams are going to be able to hit him. We saw that in Wareham the other night.
Yeah.
So I think teams in the playoffs, they're going to be ready for that. So I think you move Sansone to the bullpen, try to get 2-3 innings out of him, kind of use him as that piggyback role. And then your starting rotation is going to be Parsley's going to be in there. If Vreeling's up for it, he should be in there. And then, why not Jacek?
Well, here's the thing about Jacek is Brown now faces a full count after facing a 3-0 count. Xavier Lovett battling back with 2 outs. Would you throw Jacek out in potentially maybe like a game 3 or a game 2, even though Cotuit has seen him so recently?
That's a tough question, too, because, oh, jeez.
Brown goes down. He's 0 for 4 on the night. The Cotuit Cavaliers are being silenced at the moment.
I'll answer this real quick, as you were saying. It's tough, too, because we've only seen Jacek once.
Yeah.
Like a second time.
Who knows?
Who knows? There's not enough body of work to tell, all right, this guy is amazing, that we've seen. He was really great in the Hamptons League, all-star out there, but I'd like to see him more. And that's tough now because he's not going to pitch again in the regular season. We're going to have to see his second appearance for playoffs. Still some questions there.
Well, what we do know is that we're going to have to use all corners of our bullpen as far as we move into the playoffs. 11-2-1, and we have Darren Weeks behind me, our general manager. And Calvin, I'm going to send it down to you. We're going to talk a little bit about the momentum moving forward into the playoffs where we might be facing this Cotuit Cavaliers offense and as well as the pitching staff. What can you tell me about how big this blowout victory could mean moving into postseason play?
Well, you know what, guys? I think it's really big, especially coming off a 13-2 loss the last time these two squared off. This is a playoff preview. It looks like right now what's happening, especially with the results we see out in Wareham with the Gateman leading Falmouth 6-4. So this could be a big game. This could be a big preview game. Not only is the Braves going to win the season series if they hang on tonight 3-2, it's going to give this team confidence that they can beat a Cavalier squad in the first round of the postseason. I'm here with Connor. What just happened behind me?
Joe gave me some water. I fountained it and then spit it behind you.
How do you think this game is going to help the Braves' confidence going into the playoffs against Cotuit?
Playing a good game against a good team. Braves are hot.
I can't say much more, guys. Back up to you.
Bottom of the 8th, Christian Knapczyk up. It seems like it's either him or Joe Lampe when we come to the beginning of the bottom of whatever inning tonight. As he seems to be comfortable in that 6th spot. That one, the diving center fielder dropped it. It was very close. I think that's going to be a base hit, and it will be for Christian Knapczyk, who is ever so comfortable in the 6th spot tonight.
How about Christian Knapczyk tonight? I don't know what Harvey Shapiro is going to do when it comes to Friday. Do you think it's going to be Lampe at the top or Knapczyk?
I think it will. I think I like Joe Lampe at the top, and not only, I might like Christian Knapczyk at the 6 even more.
Yeah.
Just as far as another spark plug in the middle of the lineup that seems to propel the rest of the offensive attack in the latter half of the batting order.
Yeah, 2 hits now tonight for Knapczyk and his 4th time on base.
And I think that's another reason why we were so successful tonight is because we had Knapczyk in the middle. He was kind of an extra boost from Joe Lampe. Foul ball from Ben Huber. Another good night from Huber. 2 for 4. Popped up to second in the second. Singled in the fourth. Flew out to right in the fifth. And had a base knock in the seventh. No outs, bottom of the eighth, 11-1. Bit too far inside, 1-2.
You've got to love what you have seen from the Braves tonight. Top to bottom, the pitching staff, Matt Jacek. And then obviously with the Braves offense with 11 runs on 12 hits. And excited to see how they finish the final 2 games of the season on the road.
1-2. That one going behind Huber. Knapczyk going to second. Ortega has to scramble, and he keeps Knapczyk at second, but a wild pitch there from Deo. Man in scoring position, 11-1. The Cotuit Kettleers were flying high, but have been humbled after their 5-game win streak by the Bourne Braves here tonight, 11-1. Cotuit will have one last chance to somehow claw back from 10 runs and maybe even more if Huber has anything to say about it. Full count now.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how the lineup is constructed. We were just talking about it. Will it be Lampe or Knapczyk at the top? I like Lampe at the top as well. As much as I've loved Christian, I think the dynamic of having Knapczyk at the 6th spot is too good to pass up.
Huber with another base knock. Christian Knapczyk stays at third, and Huber rounds first, but stays with a first and third situation. Welcome to the Cape. Ben Huber, third base knock of the night. What a late addition by Harvey Shapiro in this team.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what pitching that Huber was facing down at Limestone. 439 average, it does not matter. This kid can flat out rake, and the Braves are lucky to have gotten him. You know, that's awesome news for Bourne, who is said to be maybe adding another offensive player. Can't release any details on that yet until it becomes official. Nick Gatley will have information for you on that, but the Braves expect to add another player. And, wow.
Another pitch gets away from Deo. It hits Colby Thomas. That's the second Bourne Brave hit by a pitch tonight. He trots down to first, and he looks okay. Peter Burns now due up. Bases loaded, no outs. An ugly game for the Cotuit Kettleers as we have no outs in the bottom of the eighth. 11-1, and it looks like there will be more coming for the Braves. Deo with the sidearm. He's been missing to the right. That one taken high and deep to right. Going back is Bridges with the catch. Tagging up Christian Knapczyk, a sacrifice fly. RBI to right for the Boston College catcher.
Braves' third sac fly RBI tonight. That is how you produce runs. We talked about their struggle, but the Braves tonight, no struggle at all. They're producing runs in many of ways. Base hits, home runs, productive outs, a sac fly right there. An overall excellent night offensively for everyone in the Braves lineup.
Peter Burns with his 6th RBI of the season. Sends home Christian Knapczyk. First and third situation, Huber at third. Colby Thomas at first. Deo hasn't necessarily had full command of his sidearm pitch, but when he has, the Braves have been all over him. 13 hits to 5. Ooh. That one gets behind him, and Colby Thomas takes off for second. Going home is Huber with the slide. Make it 13-1.
Yeah, Deo right now just wildly inaccurate. And that could be dangerous up here to some of these players. I mean, you can miss here in this league, but you can't be throwing at people's heads every time. That's the third pitch in the past 3 batters that has gone out towards the Bourne Braves player's head. Well, luckily for Joe, got out of the way. It was a wild pitch. Braves get another run. Lucky number 13 all around tonight for them. 13 runs, 13 hits.
He responds with a strike on the outer half. Joe Lampe has been on base twice tonight, but still hasn't recorded a hit. 3-1, he could be looking at another walk potentially. with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. Colby Thomas, after being hit by a pitch, has made it to second. 3-2 to Joe Lampe. Full count, 1 out. High pop fly, Brown's way. He comes in just behind the mound for out number 2. Another pop out for Joe Lampe.
Yeah, good pitch right there from Dale. Got Lampe to pop up, and now 2 down Max Anderson. The runner at second will try to come through for the Braves. Anderson on the day, a home run, a walk. He's reached on an error, so he's been on base 3 times, but on the day 1 for 4 as Mike Roberts comes out with 2 down. No one warming in the Cotuit bullpen, it appears.
I think they're going to stick with him. Might just be a strategy talk about how you're going to approach Max Anderson. Well, you look back, this will be the last home regular season game at Bourne Park against our rival, the Cotuit Kettleers, who we dropped our first loss to them here at Bourne Park. That was a 2-0 effort where the Braves recorded their first loss. And then you look back at our last trip to Lowell Park, where the Bourne Braves dropped a game in a 13-2 loss to the Kettleers, and we are putting that effort to shame, and just seems to be embarrassing the Cotuit Kettleers back.
Yeah, well, Bourne took the first 2 games of the season series. We're up 2-0. They lost the last 2, the latter half in embarrassing fashion. So season series tied 2-2. Obviously, one of those games was that game that was canceled with Cotuit leading in the 4th that we talk so often about. So if the Braves win tonight, not only will they get an edge up on their division rival when it comes to postseason and momentum, but they'll finish the season series with a 3-2 winning record against the Cotuit Kettleers here in 2021.
0-1 Anderson takes this to right. Drifting foul and out of play.
Oh, my.
Not sure if
Noah Bridges, that was way out of play, my friend.
If Bridges did that on purpose, you can't see on our screen, but
went flipping over the fence.
Looked doubled over the fence. He seems okay. He's out there on his feet and right, back at his normal spot. An 0-2 count to Max Anderson. Deo. Breaking ball. That gets by Ortega. Colby Thomas calmly takes third. 1-2 to Max Anderson, who struck out in the 1st, homered in the 3rd, walked in the 4th, struck out in the 6th in that, and got on base with an error. Ground ball to Ritter. 2-2, high and outside.
Busy scorebook if you look down at this page. A lot of runs all over the place, sac flies.
High fly ball. He'll be in foul territory and shallow right. Taking over is the second baseman Brown for out number 3, and Deo struggles but gets out of the bottom of the 8th. The Cotuit Kettleers will have one more opportunity, 3 outs to play with in this 13-1 game where the Braves have dominated on their home turf. Top of the ninth, the Braves lead 13-1. Xavier Lovett in for the third inning. And to close out this game, I send it to my partner, Reeves Jackson, to my right.
Thank you, Daniel. Xavier Lovett looking for the rare 3-inning save. Looking to lock that down tonight. Braves lead 12 runs by a score of 13-1. A 1-0 count here to the leadoff hitter, left-handed hitting Noah Bridges. It'll be Bridges, Jeffcoat, and Martorella. The 5, 6, and 7 hitters do up against Xavier. And a called strike 1-1. Xavier, who struggled with his command to start the inning, the last inning that he pitched for the Braves, he walked William Gale and Jace Grady before striking out the side with Trice Ritter and Eric Brown. It's a swing and a miss right there. Count is 1-2.
A half-hearted swing from Noah Bridges. Good for Xavier Lovett. Has the opportunity to come in. There is some action in the bullpen. 2 arms going, but I wonder if Harvey Shapiro will ride this game out with him.
1-2, slow chopper right back to Xavier. He gloves, underhand flip over to Rushing, who gets the glove out of the way of Bridges. Toss over to first, 1 away here for the Braves in the 9th.
2 outs away. Doesn't look like anyone's coming out of the dugout just yet. This could be Xavier Lovett's game.
Yeah, I believe it will be. It'll be interesting to see how the Braves handle the pitching situation the next 2 days. Obviously, they wouldn't ideally like to throw anyone who is going to throw in the first 2 games if you're a reliever. Obviously, like them to have a few days off. That's why Xavier getting the opportunity for a 3-inning outing here today as Jeffcoat lifts this one to center. Lampy backs up, and he puts the squeeze on things for out number 2.
The center field's 395. I think that went 394. Right there is Joe Lampy, but he had to go all the way back using every part of Dorn Park to make that fly out.
Martorella steps in. Martorella singled. He has scored the lone run for the Cotuit Kettleers today. It was on an E4 by Schobel when the infield was playing in a soft ground ball by William Gale. There was no RBI for Gale, as that fastball is away 1-0. At that point during the game, the Kettleers tied it 1-1, in which we thought it would be a back-and-forth affair before the Braves exploded. For 5 in the 4th inning, they scored 3 more in the 7th and 2 in the 8th. They lead it 13-1 against a reeling Kettleers pitching staff. And the 1-0, beautiful pitch from Xavier. 1-1. And the Braves found a way, their pitching staff, to slow down this Kettleers offense. They have done it via just 2 pitchers. Matt Jacek, in his first start and his first appearance from Indiana State, played in the Hamptons League before. And Xavier Lovett looking to complete the 3-inning save.
Have to imagine Jacek will be the player of the game tonight.
1,000%.
Has to be.
No one is more deserving.
And I'll tell you what, it goes back to pitching sets up offensive performances like the 13-run effort we put out here today.
3-1 to the Kettleers' first baseman. Xavier will look to avoid any 2-out walks and get this thing over with. Yeah, you make a good point, though. Obviously, a Braves pitching staff, no secret that they haven't been on their best performance over the course of the past week plus, with 3 double-digit run outings for them on the mound. Looking to atone for that here in the final week of the season, heading into the playoffs. A 2-out walk to Martorella, and Lovett will look to get the catcher Matthew Suggs. Excuse me, it'll be Ortega, who came into the game defensively for Suggs, so Ortega, the final hope for the Kettleers here tonight.
No movement from either Eddie Marco or Harvey Shapiro. This game is Xavier's, the Texas A&M transfer. Good for Xavier. He won a national championship, although he was at Dorn Park when the Bulldogs won that.
Raul Ortega, grounder to second. Schobel Fields tosses over to Rushing. And the Braves end the season, the regular season that is, here at Dorn Park in grand fashion. They beat the Kettleers by a final score of 13-1. And the Braves get a big win to finish out the regular season, a big win over their division rival, the Cotuit Cavaliers. And with the Falmouth Commodores going down here tonight, the Bourne Braves know their playoff opponent in the Cotuit Cavaliers. We'll see them here on Friday night. And Daniel, if the Braves look like this again Friday, we're in for a treat for Bourne fans.
It'll be a fun series, that is for sure. We're expecting big crowds. It's going to be a lot of anticipation. The Cotuit Cavaliers have had our number, a 13-2 victory they had back a few days ago on their home turf. Tonight, we get the advantage on ours, 13-1. It's going to be a fun one, and as we move forward in the next 2 regular season games on the road, I would love to see this lineup stay the way that it is, maybe create some momentum and create some stability as we move into a game that's going to be at Doran Park and a game that's going to be at Lowell Park. So it's going to be a fun one, and, you know, what a better way to go into this postseason than knowing it's going to be a team that we have some history with.
Yeah, that's if the score holds over in Spillane Field. It's 7-4 Wareham. They're going into the 8th inning. So that's if the score holds. So the Cotuit Cavaliers lose tonight 13-1. But, Daniel, we'll touch on it one more time. The Braves player of the game tonight, Matt Jacek.
He was incredible. And coming in from Indiana State, this is his first appearance, first start of the season. He looked as comfortable as ever. Looked like he's been here since day one. Cannot say more about him. He completely shut down the Cavaliers, only allowed 1 run, and that was well early on in the, I believe that was in the 4th as well for the Cotuit Cavaliers. That was followed up by Max Anderson's solo shot, which gave us the lead. And from there, we never looked back. We scored after that, 11 unanswered, and the Bourne Braves bats look like they're back for the postseason.
Yeah, they do. We'll see the Braves bats in action and the Braves pitching staff back in action for 2 more times. Both of those will be on the road, however, when we face the Hyannis Harbor Hawks for the 5th and final time this season at McKeon Park tomorrow night before going to Gov Fuller for the 3rd and final time at Gov Fuller, but playing the Commodores for the 6th and final time. That is Wednesday. We shall see how that game finishes up over at Wareham. But Cotuit loses tonight. They go down 13-1 to the Bourne Braves, who end the regular season here at Doran Park in grand fashion. The last time that we are here for the regular season, but the next time we'll be here at Doran Park is Friday night for Game 1 of the playoffs against either Cotuit or Falmouth. If the score holds, it'll be the Cotuit Cavaliers, and we would look forward to playing them again in a rivalry that has been as intense as any in the CCBL in 2021. For Daniel Coates, my name is Reeves Jackson, and for our entire production crew, we say good night. Join us tomorrow night on the Bourne Braves audio live stream as we are at McKeon Park and back here on Friday night for Game 1 of the postseason in the Western Division. We say good night and look forward to seeing you tomorrow.